good morning. It's now time for another edition of Freedom with Steve Nichols, brought to you in part by Sam Dennis Law, personal injury attorney, methodical, prepared, and battle ready, and by Kilby Family and Cosmetic Dentistry, dental care for the whole family. Now, available on Facebook, YouTube, Discord, and freedomnetworks.com each weekday morning from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Here's your host and last best hope for freedom, Steve Nichols.
All right, back on Freedom with Steve Nichols. A little bit tardy to the party today due to the power blinking off last night. Caught me off guard. Had to reset a couple things, but I believe that we are up and running. If there's any problems, please let me know. But I appreciate you guys tuning in this morning. Lots of rain in the area, but we're here in the SGAwater.com studio in Valdosta, Georgia, like we always hear, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Appreciate you joining me. Go to SGAwater.com and schedule your free water test so you'll know what's in that water. You're drinking it, you're brushing your teeth with it, cooking with it, bathing with it. You need to know what's in it. Protect yourself, protect your house, protect your loved ones just by calling 229-251-1100 and scheduling that test ASAP. We do the pledge and the prayer right here on Freedom with Steve Nichols. Do it every day. We don't start our day without it. And sometimes if it slips my mind, which rarely happens, but when it does, I get a gentle nudge from you faithful listeners, and it gets us back on track. But can't imagine starting my day without giving thanks to God. And Ross Automotive believes that we should do that as well as pray, or as well as pledge our allegiance to the flag. Great people there at Ross Automotive, open till 6 p.m., 432 Connell Road for all your automotive needs, large and small repairs, regular routine maintenance, brake check for free, veterans discounts. If you've served or have served, 10% off. And he's just a good guy. He's been on the show before, told his story, rich tradition, rich family history about fleeing Cuba and freeing the clutches of communism under Fidel Castro. Just a great, great American there. Go by and see Ramon. Tell him thank you for sponsoring the pledge and the prayer each and every day here on Freedom with Steve Nichols. Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for sending your son, Jesus Christ, to give us a chance, to give us hope, to save us, to cleanse us of our sins so that we can inherit the kingdom of that you've prepared for us, dear Lord. Thank you so much. We pray each and every day that you'll guide us and that you'll protect us and that you'll comfort our family, walking with the full armor of God. As the Bible says, put on the full armor of God, Lord. We claim it. We claim the victory ahead of schedule, ahead of time. We're ready as believers, Lord, for whatever may come our way. Lord, it's still hard down here on earth, as you knew it would be. It's hard with the challenges we face every day, the struggles, the victories are easy, Lord, but these struggles sometimes keep us down, keep us bewildered. But we walk in faith, Lord, and may we be able to share that contentment and that faith and that love and that confidence that only you can provide. May we share it with someone else, Lord. Give us the strength and the boldness to do that. Lord, I pray for a hedge of protection around people that are traveling. I know my buddy Tim Crown is headed to market in Atlanta. Lord, be with him as he travels. Big B and several of the other listeners, truck drivers like Glenn. And I just pray for our listeners, Lord. Pray for everything they're going through I got a lot of school teachers that listen on the way to school. I pray for them as they get their year kicked off. I pray for the students, the bus drivers. I pray for the crossing guards who have been assigned the duty of protecting our children as they walk across the street, Lord. I pray for the drivers, their vigilance, Lord. I thank you for the rain, Lord. I'm just full of hope and full of thankfulness and full of just love this morning, Lord. And I thank you for that. And I thank you for being the one that puts it there. And I thank my parents for instilling into me what it means to be a child of God, Lord, and the importance of it and how to raise my children up in church and in the way that you would teach us to live, Lord. Just thank you this morning. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Let's say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 229-469-1417. That is the Valdosta transmission hotline. Before we get really started this morning, I want to tell everybody, make sure you go to freedomnetworks.com. That is spelled with an X, FreedomNetworks.com. Start getting in the habit of going there every day. Visit it every day, as many times during the day as you can. You can watch the show there. You'll see that anytime live from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. You can do that. But the couple of big things, the articles that I've asked people to read, to write for us, are posted. Some of them are posted. You'll see one called Stand at Ease. That's by our very own Sarge. You'll see a couple by Larry. Hope to get some up there by me very soon. But we also have David Penny and Dr. Spencer Price. David is writing in a section called Penny Ponders. You'll see it. He's written one entitled My Body, My Choice. There's also one called It's the Gun, Stupid. It's very good, well-written articles. Dr. Price, of course, everybody knows him, one of our favorite guests. He's written one called The Case for Term Limits, Why We Need Term Limits. And, it's a very in-depth article, but y'all read those articles. There's also a poll on there that we've started conducting. It's only got 13 votes so far, but that's why I want to get y'all going to this thing, get interactive with it. The question on the screen there, don't answer it on the feed or with me, but go there. And if you're a Republican, who would you vote for governor? It's just a question for Republicans. If you are a Republican or consider yourself a Republican, who are you going to vote for, Kemp or somebody else? That's the poll that Larry has up there. There's other things to look at. We've got the debt clock on there. We've got the report for Bitcoin on there. There's sponsors on here, Ross Automotive, Kilby Family Dentistry, Crown Produce. You'll see those are ads, and they rotate through. So you'll see different ones. But there's articles on here, and it is a work in progress. So just be cognizant of that. Where there's some some articles on there that's been on there a while, but it again, it's we're working on it. But I want you to get in the habit of going to it. So y'all check it out, and we'll be doing that. We'll probably put a poll a week up there. Who knows? And then also the writings of Dr. Price and David and Sarge and Pat Hill's going to be writing an overview of the Georgia Bulldogs and the SEC matchups week to week. He's going to be doing that for us. So can't wait to see that. So let's get the show going. If you got a call, you want to talk about something specific, give me a holler. But it looks like, if you believe Representative Jim Banks, that Donald Trump will be running for president in 2024. He met with him I think the day after the raid. Incidentally, I was right, which makes me feel good about when the raid took place. It did take place in the daylight hours. The warrant was executed at 6 p.m. They were there for several hours on into the night. So when you saw the lights flashing around the estate at night, it's just because they were still there. But it did go down at about 6 p.m. So I knew I wasn't crazy on that one. But anyway, Republican Study Committee Chairman Jim Banks met with former President Trump at Trump National Golf Club, in Bedminster Tuesday evening, and said the former commander-in-chief is very upbeat and has made up his mind about 2024, a decision he will make public in a matter of time. Banks, a Republican from Indiana, and nearly a dozen members of the House Republican Study Committee, including Brian Babin, Mike Kelly, Claudia Tenney, Victoria Sparks, Pat Fallon, Mike Carey, Lisa McClain, Michael Cloud, Randy Weber, Troy Nels, and Aaron Houchin, a congressional candidate from Indiana, met with Trump at his New Jersey retreat. He didn't seem defeated in the least bit. He was very fired up, very upbeat. It was a great 3-hour-long conversation about what House Republicans are doing now to win back the majority and what we're going to do with it when we win. As for Trump's plans with regard to 2024, Banks said the former president told the group that he has made up his mind. He said he said we were going to like his decision, and it's only a matter of time before he will make that decision known. Now, everybody wants to know why he's, what's the cat and mouse game? Most of it is related, I think, to fundraising. There's some laws and rules that kick in around fundraising and what he can do and how he can go about it once he declares. So that's probably the main reason of the cat and mouse. As far as the midterm elections. There could be some strategy there. I'm not sure. I'm not that deep into the political wranglings of the Donald Trump campaign, so I can only speculate. But I do believe he's going to run. I do believe he's going to run. So the question this morning, do you guys think that's a good thing or is it a bad thing? Bobby May probably thinks it's a bad thing. He says a year and a half after he was sent home and we are still hearing about this knucklehead. Well, the reason you still hear about him because he's relevant. He is in the news. I mean, they just raided his home, so he ain't going away. And I believe he will run. So the question is, will he? Will he run? Bobby says that he don't care. Kevin says he'd rather have DeSantis. Charles Shepard said Trump has been saying he has been accumulating information on the Bidens and also proof of the election fraud and would disclose it. Could the search have been for more than presidential papers? Put nothing past these people. Yeah, I think that's Charles's sentiment is shared by many in the country. When the news came out last night that the lawyers were not allowed to be present during the search, man, that threw up some red flags. People's heads spun off. That bothers me, to be honest with you. So I don't know. We'll see what comes out. I wish he would just back DeSantis, Donna Rambo Moore says. I rest my case. I don't quite get what you mean by resting your case. I don't know. Obama has over 30 million documents kept in a warehouse in Chicago, Clay Lacey says. I don't know. Renee says, we still hearing about evil Hillary after how many years? She belongs in jail, but hell is waiting. That's a good point. Yeah. To Bobby's point about we're still hearing about him a year and a half. We're still hearing about Clinton years later. So none of them go away. Once you are president, you're on the map forever, good, bad, or ugly, or indifferent. There was something I was going to say that went out of my went right out of my brain, and I hate that happened. But I know what it was. Hillary Clinton is she's actually doing some campaigning to raise money with a hat that says "but her emails," and she's seen on these news articles wearing that hat, and she's been selling a ton of hats and shirts that say "but her emails." I find it odd she's celebrating that after Comey. Even though she didn't get prosecuted or anything, he did say that it was highly irregular and she shouldn't have done it, but she seems to be celebrating and actually raising money off of it. Good morning, caller. You're on the Valdosta Transmission Hotline. What's on your mind today?
Good morning this morning.
What's up, Jimmy?
Did I just understand you to say that Trump had lawyers at his house while they searched and they disallowed those lawyers from observing the search?
The article I read said, I don't know the details, but the lawyers were not allowed to be present at the search.
Yeah, if they were physically kept out of the search of that residence and they had the means and the ability to be there, that disqualifies every piece of evidence found in there. But that's the modus operandi, for this team.
When you say that disqualifies,
like keeping the CNIs out of the vote count process.
When you say that disqualifies, are you saying that as a legal matter that a judge is going to throw it out because they weren't allowed to be, or are you just saying that constitutionally he was not? It was not proper and shouldn't have been and should be thrown out.
An honest judge will throw that out.
Interesting.
It's akin to basically disallowing a defense.
Yeah, I'm gonna double check that, but I was golly, I hit the wrong button. I was multitasking when I saw it, so I'll look at it and verify it.
Yeah, very very interesting situation there. But I mean, it goes along with everything I said yesterday. This is all completely dirty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. There's no doubt about it.
Do you remember an incident where an individual, I wish I could remember his name. It's been a long time ago. And this is associated again with the Clintons. He went into the archives under the guise of observing some of the Clinton official records in the archives.
Mm-hmm.
and he ends up wadding a bunch of it up and shoving it down his underwear and walking out.
Yeah,
You remember
I
that?
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and when it all shook down, I think somebody pulled a Chief Judge Roberts and ruled that it was accidental, or he didn't know it was illegal or something. Anyway, they got him off of it. That's our rule of law now.
Yeah.
And if it starts way, way, way up there, well, brother, it ends way, way, way down here, right there in your local municipal court. If it's corrupt there, that corrupts it all.
Yeah. You know what? I
You know?
thought, look, this is many probably going to kind of laugh about this at first, but I think when you hear me out, it'll make sense. When I heard of this raid and I started seeing the things that went down, and in my mind, I'm comparing how they've treated Trump with how maybe Hillary got, treated, and the way Biden and the Hunter Biden deal's getting treated and everything, and seeing a difference like we see. Now, the left ain't going to see it, but we see the difference. The first thing I thought about, Jimmy, I thought about Theo. Do you know how many times Theo has gotten on this radio passionately and adamantly saying that the Republicans have got to learn to fight dirty like the Democrats? Mm-hmm. This is what he means. And you know what? He's exactly right. By God, if they're going to do this way against quote unquote our side or the right, then by golly, we need to do it to them. We just need to get down and dirty. It's lawlessness, man. It's complete chaos at this point.
It's complete lawlessness.
It is. It's lawlessness.
You know how
Why follow it?
I'm going to quote myself here on what you just said. And history will bear me out and prove me correct. Mm-hmm. You cannot fight a barbaric enemy with gentleman tactics and win a war.
You can't do it.
It is not going to happen. It never has, and it never will. Now, a minute ago, you were mentioning articles you want us to go and read.
Mm-hmm.
Two things. I'd like for you to show me how to find those, because a couple of them I heard you mention I'd be very interested in reading. But also, I'm gathering that you've got a section somewhere now in this network that you're building where people are writing commentary.
Absolutely.
Yep. I would like a piece of that action if you'll have me.
Absolutely. It's an unpaid position, I might add.
I don't do this for the money.
No, I know you don't. I say that as a joke, but I think everybody knows
I take the attacks. You've seen me take them. Just like Joe got yesterday. You offer something out there for digest and food for thought, and people take it, and for whatever reason they turn it outward against you.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just the nature of the beast. I don't do this for them, and I don't do this for the money. I do this for the person that will take something that I put out there and build upon it.
That's right.
Even if they come to a completely different conclusion than I have, at least they've come to an honest conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
So many times I make a comment in a thread on Facebook to have somebody come back and say, you're an SOB or that's BS, but they use the actual words and not the acronyms, but they offer nothing of substance to counter what I said. So when I encounter those people, I just ignore them.
That's right.
Like our presidents used to do. It's called dignity. It's called being dignified. It was, I think it was Barack Obama that started all this responding to childish rhetoric with childish rhetoric. And it's continued through Trump, and it really takes away from the dignified position that our office of president used to be.
That's right.
But I kind of digress. But anyway, I don't do it for the money. I'm not interested in getting paid for it. I just, I'd like to put some thoughts into something like that.
Well, right away, I'll call you after the show and tell you how easy it is, and we'd love to have you on there. And there's no place on here for anybody to comment on the articles. It's just simply like Jimmy always says, it's food for thought. I'm gonna read one written by David Penny when I hang up with you, simply because it's relatively short, but it'll give you an idea of some of the commentary that's on here. And if the beauty of it is, there'll be something on here for everybody, but everybody won't read everything. Everybody's not going to read David Penny. Everybody's not going to read the Georgia Bulldog Report. There's going to be articles I don't read on here. But the point is, you're going to be able to pick and choose. If you start reading it, I don't care about this. You move to another one. But we want to get plenty of food on there for you to consume if you wish. And I'd love to have you on there writing. And again, I've made this plea on air before. If anybody out there is interested in writing, we'll talk about it. Now, if I tell you it don't fit, don't get offended. But not everybody's going to be able to write. It's got to fit what I'm trying to do. And if you're going to get mad at, there's a team of people that look at this, and that being me, Larry, Sarge, JT, we're going to all look at this thing. But the buck stops here. I'm the one. If it's a no, it came from me. So I'm just going to go ahead and own that. But I don't want anybody to get offended. If it's just if not everybody can write. Okay. So
let me tell you something about putting your thoughts down in writing like this. One of the greatest philosophers ever, Marcus Tullius Cicero. He was murdered by the Roman government, the henchmen of Antony, in 43 BC. And he was an incredible mind. The reason that we have his philosophy, and by the way, our founding fathers drew heavily from this guy when they established our system of government and its foundational principles. When they murdered Cicero, they destroyed everything they could get a hold of his writings and his records, because he was also a Roman senator. And go to YouTube, and all of his stuff that's known to us today is on YouTube. The scathing oratory that he wrote against Antony when Antony murdered Caesar and took the throne. It's all right there. Look for the Cicero's Philippics, and it's I think 14 oratories against Antony. It's why he was murdered, but it's just very eloquent, and it sounds like he's writing against Washington D.C. today. But anyway, the reason I bring Cicero up is because the Antony and his henchmen, everything they could get a hold of pertaining to Cicero, they destroyed it. The reason Cicero lives on today is because his philosophical writings weren't wrote down in a book that was published. They were written in letters to his son. And his son published them. Wow. Or made them available. Well, I don't think his son published them. I don't think either his son nor him ever intended for it to be public knowledge. But he protected them and they were found later. I got you. Yeah. Somehow somebody in the I think it was the Vatican, got a hold of a bunch of his work, and they hid it in the archives of the Vatican, and someone stumbled upon it and found it like 600 years later. Wow. Interesting. Cicero was forgotten. So when you write your thoughts out like this and your thoughts are good, you never know where they might resurface or when. That's right. That's a good point right there. So this will live as long as the internet lives. This will be on that site as long as that site's up. So it'll be cool. I like it. Oh, yeah. If you think that the likes of Pelosi and Biden or Obama, any of that or their henchmen, hell, even a lot of the Republicans, if they could get absolute, unabridged, complete control and power, don't think that they wouldn't destroy stuff written by the likes of Ayn Rand or Cicero or John Locke or Thomas Paine or Thomas Jefferson or James Madison. You go on and on and on. They'll take that Constitution in the archives up there and they'll burn it. Maybe they don't want you to know about that. Hey, maybe there's something in them 15 boxes at Mar-a-Lago that they don't want us to know about. I imagine there's plenty in there. We'll see. Well, maybe we'll see. I don't know if we'll see. They don't, see, do you remember a couple of weeks ago, I just made one of those connections that I mentioned to you that I just don't understand how other people can't make them. In the last 2 weeks, in one of mine and your conversations on air, I commented that the communists will win over the fascists because they mean it. They're more serious about it. That's right. Yeah, you're seeing an example of that right now in these actions. Do you remember the chant "Lock her up"? Oh yeah. And then when he got the office, and everybody said, "Well, lock her up," and he said, "Well, we didn't physically actually mean lock her up." Yeah, that's right. He backpedaled, right? Yeah. That leniency isn't being reciprocated, is it? No, it's not. You're right, and I think that's right. And he actually had a reason. Yeah, I don't think old Theo looks quite as silly as he did before this raid. Sure don't. Not quite. All right, I'm gonna go catch a fish, my man. I'll Get
Hey,
the-
well,
get
hey,
here
go
from later.
go catch your fish and then sit down and get your pen out and start writing. Not literally, but I'll tell you how to do it. It ain't hard.
All right, brother.
All right,
Take
man.
care.
See you, Jimmy. All right, 229-469-1417. Brian Vincent wrote on there. He was wanting to verify the website, and this is something people's got to get used to. It's not Freedom Network with a K. It's Freedom Networks with an X. So it's FreedomNetworks.com. Okay, Freedom Networks with an X.com. But anyway, go there and check that out. I want to read this. Just give you a sample. This is kind of a short one. This is David Penny. It's called Penny Ponders, and we're going to be restructuring this and improving it as we go. It's a work in progress. Y'all know that. Now, this is something I chose a long time ago, right or wrong. Okay, it just meant something to me to kind of let all the people that's got me and us where we are to see the inside workings of it, to see how it's built. And I think Larry understands that now, and he's embracing it more and more. But many people would not have this website up. And I get calls and criticisms all the time. Say, hey, man, you should get that thing better before you release it. Well, I get it. And that's fine. And I get the merit of doing that. I'm just doing it my way. And I'm letting y'all see my growing pains and see that my goal is to let everybody know, look, man, I'm just an average, probably a below average dude out there that has a passion and a dream of making a difference when it comes to freedom and what's going on in this country. So I'm trying to inspire you guys and inspire somebody out there that may be like me, that just can't quite get over the hump, or don't quite have a platform, or can't quite figure out how to do it, or somehow inspired it. I'm going to take full credit. Somehow, I don't know what, somehow Joe got inspired to do this, and he's on. Somehow Jimmy just got inspired to do some writing on here. He's on. David Penny, Dr. Price, Pat. I mean, somehow I've got people getting inspired to try to make a difference and help me. And so I'm letting everybody see it step by step by step. So it's going to get better and better and better. I don't want to embarrass myself. I don't think it's embarrassing. If y'all feel like I've got anything on here or something I'm doing is not professional or embarrassing, then let's talk about it. But man, I'm going to push back most of the time, because I'm telling you, whatever you see up here, it's freaking real. Okay. If there's a misspelled word up here, I hate it, but it's real. It happened. Hell, I ain't the alphabet champ. I ain't never won a spelling bee. Anyway, David Penny writes, well, here we are, just as I predicted. When COVID was hot and heavy and all the pro-abortion Democrats were mandating the vaccine, I was saying y'all need to be careful, because I 100% believe in my body, my choice concerning vaccines, and you are stomping on your number one political tagline here. When it's really just your body, you should totally get to decide if you get the vaccine or not. It literally affects nobody else. I mean, if the vaccine works, then the unvaccinated have zero chance of spreading it to the vaccinated. So this decision only affects the decider, completely unlike abortion. Abortion affects two bodies, two heartbeats, two souls. If we can simply be honest about it, pro-abortion people are okay stopping another person's heartbeat when that person is an inconvenience. Y'all need to quit acting like it's not a life and just admit you are okay killing an innocent person. As we know, death is defined as the heartbeat stopping. The doctor doesn't say, well, he can't take care of himself, so he must be dead. Or he can't live without somebody helping him, so he must be dead. Death is called when there's no heartbeat. So for once, libs, be intellectually honest. If death is a stopped heartbeat, then life is the beginning of a heartbeat. Therefore, an intellectually honest person knows that abortion takes a life, and pro-abortion people are okay stopping an innocent life. I have heard the arguments a life in poverty is better off dead. Better off dead? Who are you to decide that? Having been a life in poverty and now wealthy, I can attest we don't think that. Poverty is some of my best memories. No cable TV, no entertainment, no vacations to worry about. You had plenty of family time. So next time you try to say my body, my choice, be consistent. Do not mandate my health care and only apply your silly slogan when it only affects one body and not somebody else's. Let freedom ring. And that's David Penny. He is the proud husband of Jody Penny and the father of 3. He ran eLead One for 10 years before it sold for over $500 million. Currently building his second software company. He is a proven successful business leader, mentor, and his crowning accomplishment. His kids are great. David feels he is blessed to be in the greatest country that ever existed. I worked for David Penny. Downtown Sherry Brown's on here. She worked for him too. She can attest. David Penny's he's a stand-up American patriot and a good man, and I love the man. So proud to have him on board. And again, y'all can follow his readings at freedomnetworks.com along with others, and we'll showcase some of them as we move forward in that. But y'all get used to going to that website. You don't have to miss the show during the 3 hours. You can go back and go to it, but y'all check it out on a daily basis. I want to build right now. It's not, man, it ain't a tenth of the way it's going to get. I want to create something for everybody. Okay. Jimmy's going to do hopefully a fishing show. Joe's show comes on, my show comes on. Man, I'm like on the verge of signing a real big deal for another 3-hour show, and it's just totally out of politics. It's about sports, and it's ESPN related. I hope that comes to fruition. If it doesn't, then we're gonna get somebody else. But I want to one day wake up. I'm trying to build a legacy here. I'm trying to build something that will live past me, live past Joe, live past Jimmy, live past Greg. Anybody that contributes. I want somebody to come when I'm gone, when I can't get in here, when they can't wheel me up the ramp, which I don't think we have a ramp right now, but we'll build a ramp when we need one or if we need one. But my point is, I want to hand this down to somebody. I want somebody else to run with it. Somebody that's younger than me. Sarge is a little younger than me. JT's a little younger than me. Larry and I are old. You know, Jimmy, we're all getting older. But maybe there's some new blood. Some of my buddy Josh at VSU. He might can step right in and take the reins of this thing, but I want freedom to continue. Want this fight to continue, and I want to set a standard of what you're going to see here. Different shows and different concepts and different thoughts, and I don't care what it is. I want something for everybody. If politics isn't your thing, that's fine. I want something to be on here, but it's going to be related to freedom in some roundabout, maybe sometimes hard way to connect, but there won't be any communist, Marxist, Bolshevik bullshit connection on here. I can promise you that. And if y'all see one, hey, y'all are the police. If you see something on here that slips through the cracks and gets on there, by golly, you need to let me know so I can get it off of there. All right. I have said it before and I'll say it again, Steve. This show reminds me of the EIB network in the beginning. Yeah, maybe so. I'm not patterning it off of anything, but yeah, I get what you're saying, Charles. I think that's a compliment. I appreciate it. I suggest you write it down in concrete. Okay. We need to talk about the power behind the power, stir the real crap pot. Yeah. I mean, if we can figure out, we all think we know, but man, it's like that malignant tumor in your brain I described. It's hard to weed out, hard to get out, hard to root out. Identifying it, that's only a small part of the battle. Once you identify it, getting it out of there, that's the problem. Renee, you at the beach yet? I'm reading some of these comments. Radio silence. I mean, air silence. That's not something that, honestly, is something you really need going on there. Pulled analytics yesterday. I want to share some of this in case you guys, in case some of you guys are listening that are know somebody that might want to advertise or something like that. I don't think I can pull up real time. Maybe we'll talk about it here in a minute. I want to get this call. Rather, hear what y'all got to say than hear me run my mouth. Good morning, calling on the Valdosta Transmission Hotline. What's on your mind today?
Lopahigh River still flowing.
Still flowing? Is it up, down? After the rain yesterday, surely it's got to come up at some point. Man, it flooded yesterday.
I couldn't tell really, but actually you can kind of see the sandbars. I still think it's down a little.
Yeah, it's probably down a little bit. But.
I got caught yesterday lying. I said I went over it yesterday, and I was actually in Lake Park filling my gas tank up when Renee caught me.
Oh, okay, right. You were assuming.
You didn't catch that, huh?
That's right. You're assuming.
I knew I wasn't going to be in time. The show was running down, and I wasn't going to get over the river in time. But I took a chance that it was still about the same it was Monday.
Well, you'd fit right in at CNN and MSNBC, Troy. You should apply for a job there. They just kind of make up shit as they go too.
Hell yeah! I mean, they need a big purple dinosaur on that show, don't they?
They do, man. They do. You sent a picture. You sent a picture. Hang on a minute. I know you sent a picture to me. I got to be honest, man. Yeah. I was digging the purple. I thought you looked very handsome in the purple. I like it. It was a good look on you, and you didn't look anything like Barney the dinosaur. I want to clarify that right now. I was just kidding.
Oh, no, you didn't even see me with my bone-colored sport jacket on. I had a big interview yesterday, my friend.
I hear you.
Yesterday was a big day for T-Rex.
Did it go good?
I reckon. I'll know Monday when it's casted on it's just a closed circuit cast on the hospital, on the system, the healthcare system I work for.
I got you.
They profiled me.
Well, 10-4. I hope it works out good for you. But yeah, I mean, did you talk to Renee at the gas pump, or did she?
I did. That's what I was trying to tell you. I pulled in and got out of the car. I just finished my call with lying. And so I get out to pump gas. And what do I hear? Resounding is the Freedom Network and your voice. Really? I thought they had it piped in overhead at the gas station.
Well, they should have it there. They should have it. Let's be honest.
Well, I mean, loud, Steve. It was loud. I mean, it was so loud. I thought not only did they have it piped overhead, but it was loud. And everybody under that canopy could hear it. And then I looked over, and there she is, full of gas and top down, Renee in that darn Jeep. That's where Steve Nichols was coming from.
That's awesome right there. I can depend on Renee. I can depend on Renee. She is an adamant supporter, and man, I tell you what, I'd be lost without her. If everybody knew everything about the history of Renee and I I literally could not be here without her. I'm just telling you. She says it wasn't. She says it wasn't that loud, Troy.
It was loud. It was loud.
Well, it wasn't loud.
My ear, and that's when I knew who she was. I've only seen her. I've only seen that Jeep once at the little get together you had. I've seen her a couple times at Dope Boys, but I knew who it was.
Yeah.
So I hollered, Renee, it's T-Rex.
Come over and That's funny.
I don't think get a chance to even do my gas there. The darn machine wouldn't take my credit card every time. I went to 2 machines and it said pay inside, and I said, the hell with that. I'd pull up here so I can use these things with my credit card. Anyway, I drove on, got gas for a nickel more down the street, but that was really funny.
Well, 2 things, and Jimmy just texted me. I was trying to say this. In my opinion, it wasn't loud enough. And Jimmy says the same thing. It wasn't loud enough. Second of all, the credit card not working at the gas pump, let's just say that happens to me often, probably for differing reasons.
No, I mean, as soon as I walked up to it, it said, go pay inside. So I don't know. Maybe they had a camera and knew I was a deadbeat when I walked up.
Danny Spell brings up something. I was yelling a lot yesterday. Of course, I yelled at Mary. I don't know if she's mad at me or not for yelling at her. I wasn't really yelling at her. I was just yelling, related to her, I guess. But Danny Spell says it was probably when I was yelling. So whoever might have been listening, they might have been thinking, who in the hell is that screaming on that radio like a wild man, So,
it was great.
Yeah.
It was great. You could be heard for miles, brother.
10-4. Turn it up, baby. Turn it up.
That was great. Hey, listen, about I was interested in Jimmy and yours conversation about what went down at Mar-a-Lago and what he had to say about the lawyers not being able to be present during the search. A little something we learned in library school was the use of a device called the National Security Letter. And I could see that coming into play right here because of the allegations that he has classified information, even top secret information. They could have used an FBI agent can, without a court order and without a proper warrant, fill out. As I understood it, when I researched it almost 20 years ago, and I actually did some research on this and presented in Atlanta on this subject, so it may have changed legislatively, but at the time, a federal agent was empowered, and this was a few years after 9/11, to fill out one of these national security letters and demand property or confiscate property on that premises. And who he presents that national security letter to is under immediate gag order, to the point that you cannot even consult an attorney. And if you do consult an attorney or violate that gag order in any way, you are placed into custody and you are considered under contempt of federal court at that point. And they're going to take whatever they want to anyway at that point. But they give you an option to hand it over voluntarily, I guess, by signing it away on that national security letter. Have you ever heard of this?
I have not, and honestly, I'm kind of taken aback by hearing this. That sounds like a Bolshevik bullshit move if I ever heard of one.
Well, it comes from the Patriot Act.
Oh, there you go. Well,
I
there you go.
Interviewed a librarian in Frederick, Maryland, who was issued NSL, National Security Letter. His name was Daryl Batson. I'll go ahead and say his name because I published this research years ago, and actually got booed off a stage in Atlanta when I defended the use of NSL, and it stemmed from the anthrax case in Maryland.
Huh.
And he had to give up all of his computers to the FBI that one of the anthrax suspects were using, because the FBI had him under such stringent surveillance. He couldn't use his computers at his house. He was going to the public library and using them. And so, the FBI traced him there and first went to Mr. Batson and said, we want this computer. He gave them up. And then they came back with an NSL and said, we want them all. And they took every computer at the public library and confiscated them. So.
Well, the one thing that sticks in my mind right now during this phone call is that you got booed off the stage. I'm envious. I've never been booed off the stage, but I'm going to keep aiming high. Maybe that'll happen one day.
It was 100 librarians.
Wow, that's
and
interesting.
Big Fat Purple Barney up there telling them the value of the national security letter. And they were saying, no, sir, you cannot violate patrons' rights, their rights to access whatever information they want in this library. To which I answered, well, if they detonate a nuclear bomb or let loose anthrax that kills half the city, you need to consider what role your library is going to play at that point. So that was my argument.
Interesting.
I don't know, at this 20 years later, I don't know if I would 17, 18 years later, I don't know if I would pursue that argument or not now. I might have to re-examine my position in light of just the new politics that we find ourselves in.
Well,
that's interesting.
Yeah, it is. It is interesting.
That they have that device to them, and they can certainly short-circuit some due process with devices like that at their disposal.
It's possible they used something like that in the raid at Mar-a-Lago, because it was a top secret information, classified information. If it was national security issues, maybe they did that. Of course, they took the representative's phone yesterday. Three agents came up to him basically on the sidewalk and said, "Hey, hand over your phone." I don't know how far this thing's going to go, but I truly believe that it's being weaponized. I believe that with all my heart.
And they have weapons at their disposal, like the national security letter that a lot of people aren't even aware of. So, that's leftover stuff from the Patriot Act 20 years ago. So be careful. Who did you say they took a phone from whom?
One of the U.S. congressmen. They got him on the side of the street. They had a warrant and they seized his phone. I mean, without no warning. He's pissed because he said they could have went through his attorney and, this, that, and the other. I'm trying to find the guy's name right now. Trump, trying to find, here he is right here. It is Representative Scott Perry. He says he's a Republican from Pennsylvania. He says the FBI has confiscated his cell phone. Perry, in an exclusive statement on Tuesday, said that while traveling with his family earlier in the day, he was approached by 3 FBI agents who handed him a warrant and requested that he turn over his cell phone. The confiscation of the congressman's personal phone comes one day after FBI agents seized former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. This morning, while traveling with my family, 3 FBI agents visited me and seized my cell phone. They made no attempt to contact my lawyer, who would have made arrangements for them to have my phone if that was their wish. I'm outraged, though not surprised, that the FBI, under the direction of Merrick Garland's DOJ, would seize my phone, seize the phone of a sitting member of Congress. My phone contains info about my legislative and political activities, my personal and private discussions with my wife, family, and constituents and friends. None of this is the government's business, but they sure got it.
Yep. They're using all this technology against you.
Well, I will say this. If you're an elected official, at this point, if the FBI or anybody seizes your phone or your laptop or your computer and there's damaging information on there, then you're a dumbass. Because you know that they're out to get you, right? And you know that they will trample your rights. They won't play fair, and they're going to seize that. So if you're stupid enough to keep that information on those devices, you need to get caught.
Well, hell, like you pointed out, yesterday or the day before, they could say they found anything on it. I mean, once they grab it, they can plant whatever they want at that point.
Well, that's the thoughts of the deal down there at Mar-a-Lago when the lawyers weren't allowed to be present. And I'm still trying to find where I read that at. But if that is the case, if I read it right, I mean, they can stick anything they want in that box.
Once they've got it.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I've talked to criminal defense attorneys that they say that in their mind they have clients in jail due to planted evidence.
Yeah.
They believe it.
It happens. I've seen it on TV.
There was a cop called a couple months ago somewhere. I don't know where that happened. But they had him. That dummy got caught on his own surveillance camera planting evidence. So
Denzel Washington. I saw Denzel Washington do it in that movie Training Day. I seen it. It's real.
There you go. Denzel do it.
Dang right.
But I just have to believe that whatever Trump had down there, I just don't believe he had anything of value there. He had to know this was coming.
Yeah.
They were talking about it a year ago.
Yeah, he did. Well, it all started back in February when they caught him flushing documents down the toilet in the White House, and that kind of threw up a red flag to him,
I never heard that.
Yeah. Well, you may not have heard it, but it happened, or it's allegedly, I should say. But yeah, that's some of that's where all the
fireplaces they have in the White House, hell, just torch it.
Yeah. Wow.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
Hey, don't shoot the messenger.
Lighter in a fireplace is much better to destroy a document.
Yeah.
You cannot create or destroy a document, right?
I don't know, man. I wouldn't have flushed it neither. I think burning it would have been
brother.
All right. See you later.
All right.
229-469-1417. That is the Valdosta Transmission phone number. I don't believe I'd flush it. I'd burn it like T-Rex, but who knows? Hard to read poop colored writing though, so I don't know. What else? Oh, this is big news. Trump will be deposed today by the New York Attorney General. Former President Trump is expected to be deposed by lawyers from New York Attorney General Letitia James's office Wednesday. People familiar with the matter tell CNN, pitting the two adversaries against each other after a more than 3-year civil investigation into the Trump organization's finances. It is unclear whether Trump will answer questions or assert his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. That'll be interesting to see. Will he plead the fifth? Let me ask y'all this, just out of curiosity. When you see, it doesn't matter who it is. It don't matter if they're on the right or the left. Or just a criminal, or someone accused. Anybody, it could be friends of you. It don't matter. When you see someone plead the fifth, what's the first thing that pops in your mind? I want to see if y'all are on the same page with me or think like I do, which I don't know if we do or not. It don't matter. What's the first thing that pops in normally now? What's the first thing that pops into your mind when you hear somebody plead the fifth and they say, I refuse to answer those questions? Greg Daniels, I'm with you. That's Mary, Bobby. Okay. I just want to make sure we were all on the same page. If somebody pleads the fifth, the first thing that pops into my mind is that they're guilty or they're hiding somebody, just hiding something, just like Charles Shepard said. Good morning, caller. You're on the Valdosta Transmission Hotline. What's on your mind today?
Morning, sir.
What's happening, brother?
Man, I'd rather drink a fifth than plead the fifth.
I heard that.
My opinion.
I heard that.
That's just my observation of that situation. Did T-Rex a while ago, did he say that the Lappahappy River is flowing or not?
He said it was flowing, but let's be specific here. Like Kevin points out, he says that when you hear somebody plead the fifth, he thinks they're guilty, just like T-Rex for lying about the river. Now, T-Rex gave the report on the river before ever actually seeing the river. He was like miles before getting to the river. He was just assuming that, and he got busted. He actually outed himself out of fear Renee would do it, So
I heard that part.
Yeah. So he.
The reason I asked that
I'm just gonna be honest with you. I mean, I think we've established that. I don't know. I mean, because his credibility now has been questioned, so I don't know if the river's flowing or not.
Well, the reason I just crossed over it on I-75, and they ain't nothing down there in the bottom of that ditch but sand.
Really?
Yeah. My man is starting to worry me a little bit. I got the question where he's at.
He may. I don't know what to tell you. I'm troubled by the events of this morning, and I think maybe we need to get T-Rex on the stand, cross-examine him. But I believe he's going to plead the fifth, and I believe that I believe Sam would tell him to plead the fifth.
I'm beginning to wonder if he's been captured. I mean, I think that along with the Trump house being raided the other day, and then the Congress's phone being took from him yesterday, I think it done got T-Rex trying to get a hold of us.
Well, I think we need to call a witness to the stand. Renee, are you sure that you saw the real T-Rex at the gas pump yesterday? He was wearing purple. Now, the question is, you 100% sure that it wasn't Barney the dinosaur and then it was T-Rex? How far away from the pump were you, Renee? When is the last time you went to the eye doctor? Do you wear glasses? Did you have your glasses on? How do you know that was T-Rex and not Barney? We've got to know these things.
T-Rex is big enough you can see him without glasses.
So is Barney. So is Barney.
Yeah, point made.
Okay. Now, I think the thing to realize here, Greg Daniels, Shade Tree, he just pointed it out, the obvious. T-Rex is a librarian.
Oh.
You see there? You see what I did there? You see what Greg did there? He's a librarian.
I got it.
Okay.
I got it.
All right. He can defend himself. Renee says, yeah, I'm sure. I'm 100% sure. I went up to his car. Okay. I believe. Okay. I believe Renee. Renee's a credible witness. So I believe her when she say it was T-Rex. So the evidence, because he admitted it live on air, Renee backs up the eyewitness account. It is absolutely beyond reasonable doubt that T-Rex lied about what was going on in the Alapaha River. Now, the question is, well, we'll have the sentencing portion of the trial later. What else is on your mind?
I'm trying to help a brother out. I mean, the Lapahawk is dry. My only other way of possibly defending him is maybe he was crossing over to Swanee when he looked down. I don't know.
Objection, Your Honor. Speculation.
I agree. I mean, sustained.
I see. I'm no help. I could be called. I'll call myself to the witness stand briefly. Mr. Nichols, did you happen to cross the Alapaugh River recently? Yes, sir, I did. Twice. I crossed it on the way down to my granddaughter's open house and on the way back from my granddaughter's open house. Okay. What did you see? I didn't see shit. I didn't even look. Okay. So I'm going to excuse this witness, Your Honor. He's no help whatsoever. So I didn't even look. I don't know. I should have looked.
That's right.
I didn't.
Yeah, I was on my phone, Your Honor.
Yeah, I wasn't on my phone.
I was looking at my.
I wasn't on my phone. I was just talking to Emmy and and just this, that, and the other, and I just.
You was doing important stuff.
I was. That's right. And I just the river wasn't on my mind, and I'm sorry. I'm like Cato.
Right.
I'm like Cato Kalin. What was his name in the OJ trial?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was in the guest house sleeping. I didn't know what happened. I heard some noises. That's about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I just the thing that the whole Trump deal bothers me. I posted on Facebook yesterday, and a mutual friend of ours, which Democrat, he responded to what I had said, and he gave the typical Democrat talking points, and that really bothered me because what he went by, what he said was, they do hundreds of those, a day, I'm sure they had warrants and, all this, that, and other. And like, I didn't even respond to him. Shade Tree got in on the conversation and they went back and forth a little bit, but, I don't know. It heard us in the shoots, that I didn't expect to see that argument coming from that particular person. I figured he would have, a little better input than what he gave. Another thing that bothers me.
Well, hold on before you move on. I didn't quite grasp. I kept listening, hoping you'd circle back because I was distracted when you started it. What was he saying again? Was he saying they didn't have warrants or had warrants or
no? He said. I mean, he said that it was all legal, and they do hundreds of, the FBI
it was
does
legal.
hundreds of
Yeah,
those a day.
I think.
Right.
Yeah, it was legal. There's no argument there. I don't think.
And I'm on backtrack and correct myself. I did respond to him saying I'm sure they had all their ducks in a row before they walked in.
Yeah.
But I mean, my point is about the FBI being weaponized, and I didn't know anything about the congressman's phone being taken from him until just now listening to your show. I mean, this is get that Patriot Act. We knew it was a problem when it was being implemented. I mean, if that's if that's the law that's giving them the ability to do that kind of thing, just walk up there with a warrant and take your stuff without any kind of, I say without warning, but I mean, without putting you under some kind of investigation. I mean, if that's when you find out you're under investigations when they come up there and take your property, that's a problem with me. Also, the Democrats, they knew, I mean, I guess they know better than to come up and say, hey, we need your phone, because of what Hillary did with her phone when they asked for it. She went and deleted everything and washed it, made sure that she wasn't going to get nothing out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So now they just come up there and take it from you.
I'm going to say this. I don't have a problem in general principle with the authorities investigating me. I think most investigations, I would say I'm probably saying 95% or more investigations into people or into any potential criminal act the investigation is probably unknown to the person that they're investigating. And they keep gathering as much information in the background as they can. And then if a search warrant comes into play, they go to the judge, and the element of surprise is necessary. Like in this case of this congressman and his phone, I honestly have no problem with them just popping up out of the blue with no warning whatsoever and saying, hey, we have a search warrant to take your phone from you. And if they've got that search warrant, it's signed for a judge, and all the processes went, then I don't have a problem with none of that. Where I have a problem with it is if that standard is not being upheld across political lines or across the spectrum. In other words, if it's not being weaponized, if they say, you know what, we're just I don't like this congressman, so I'm gonna make life hard on him. We're going to investigate him, and we're going to get a search warrant, and we're going to look for something. That's when it becomes nefarious and abusive. But the element of surprise, it's like child trafficking cases. If you suspect a man trafficking minors, some pedophile, and you want to catch him and you want to get the evidence on him, then you investigate and you try to keep it a secret so he doesn't do what? He doesn't destroy the evidence. You know what I mean? So I don't have no problem with the process, not whatsoever. I mean, that's how you catch crooks and criminals. But it's got to be applied across the board evenly. It can't be weaponized against a party. You know what I mean? And that's what I fear is going on.
I agree with you on the element of surprise, so to speak. But I mean, my problem is, I mean, I'm gonna take the congressional level out of it. Let's just say, they show up to the Tularosa with a warrant and want to look at my computer just because I listen to Steve Nichols.
Yeah.
I mean, what are they going in there looking to find something? And that's the impression I'm under. I mean, if they've got a warrant, if I'm, since you use the child porn thing, I'm on roll with that. If I'm under suspicion of producing child pornography or whatever, then and they come up there with the warrant, okay, they're going to tell me at that time, you're under suspicion of we think you're making child porn, so we fix to take your stuff.
Right.
And and okay, well, I didn't do it, but here it is. You can have it.
Mm-hmm.
But I know they had a warrant to get his phone, but I just wonder what the reasons were, or what he was under suspicion of, what they're investigating him for.
Well, that's what we're all.
I don't
wondering.
like this.
Yeah, that's what we're all wondering.
Right.
And then when you read, that the judge who signed off on the raid or signed off on the warrant, he has donated thousands of dollars to former President Barack Obama's presidential campaign and victory fund in 2008.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, that's the kind of, and I don't care if if the D's are doing it to the R's or the R's are doing it to the D's. I don't care. I don't like it. I mean, I don't like it at all.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care whose side you're on.
See, we've never discussed anything like this ever. We've never given it a second thought about a search warrant and about the surprise element, the popping in on them unannounced and catching them out of blue like they did this congressman on the sidewalk. We would never talk about anything like that if it was me and you. We're only talking about it because it's in the news and it's a congressman and we're trying to get herded into a shoot. The Republicans are pissed because it was a Republican that was served. And the problem we see on the right as right-leaning people is we don't seem to see that happening to people on the left. Now, why is that? Is that the case, or do we just perceive it? Can somebody that is somehow in this world that don't have a lean, which I don't know how in the world you don't have a lean in this country. If you're even moderately paying attention, you're going to lean one way or the other. So if there was somebody out there that could gather and do a tabulation of the incidents that have required or maybe should have required a search warrant, is it being applied? Is it being applied equally? That's the question. My perspective is, I wouldn't bet a lot of money on it. I'm just going to be honest with you. But my perspective is that it's not being applied equally. And I think it's heavy-handed against the Republicans. That's just my perspective. I could be wrong, but that's what I perceive.
Yeah, I seem to remember something, some paper way back in the day when all this country was being, was taken off about being secure in your papers and such, and of course they didn't have iPhones back then, but your phone is considered your papers nowadays. I mean, and I know they had a warrant, so therefore their ducks were in a row. They had it covered, but there again, what was the warrant for? Okay, we got a warrant. Want to look at your phone?
Mm-hmm.
What's the warrant for? Can't tell you that. No, you ain't getting my phone. Where do you go from there?
I don't know about that.
Know what I mean?
I don't know what was in the warrant on the seizure of the phone. I suspect there was probably some language referring to why they got the warrant, and the congressman just didn't tell us. He's not going to come out there and say, well, they had a search warrant because they're looking for this. He didn't want to let that cat out of the bag at all, which was a smart move on his part politically. In the case of Trump, we know exactly what the warrant was for. Well, let me just say this. We know what we've been told the warrant was for. It was for the 15 boxes of, documents there. But as far as the congressman goes, I would assume, now I could be wrong. I'm with you on this. I don't think they can come up and say, hey, here's a search warrant. Give us your phone. The search warrant has to indicate a reason. Now, somebody that's a police officer or detective that uses this process could probably shed more light on it, or Sam or Judge Tunison, if he's listening. Somebody could say, well, the warrant's got to say this. But it can't just say, I don't think we have a warrant for your phone. Well, what's the warrant for? It's for your phone. You know what I mean? You gotta give me something here. I'm assuming they probably did, but hell, I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure the language was in the warrant to to justify whatever question we've got. But I'm becoming jaded. I think it's just a fishing expedition. Hey, let's go get his phone and see what we can find.
Yeah.
Just like those boxes. Let's go get them boxes and see what we can find. See what's in them. If there ain't nothing in, I don't know.
I think they knew pretty much was in the boxes. What gives me pause is and for clarification, Bobby, no, they didn't get the boxes back in January. They actually saw the boxes back in January or February, and then they started investigating what are those boxes? What's in them? Should they be back here? Then they put two and two together. They realize it is government property, so that's when they got the warrant. What bothers me, see, if they'd have just went in there, got the 15 boxes, and got out, I probably I wouldn't really be talking a whole lot about it. But the one thing that bothers me about this thing is the safe. They opened the safe. They cracked the safe. And according to multiple reports, there wasn't anything in it. But what about the warrant gave them the right to search the safe? That's what puzzles me. You know what I mean? Because, I'm no lawyer, but I've watched enough Law and Order. Okay. When they go in, when Elliot and Mariska Hargitay is the actor. I can't remember her name on the show, but when they go in there and then they do what they do, they execute a search warrant for the SVU Special Victims Unit. That search is very targeted, and if they see something else, in other words, I remember Lenny in the thing. He goes in there in this specific episode. They're looking for the gun, and or they're looking for something. And the argument was what they found was a gun. Was it in plain view, and was it covered under the scope of the warrant? The argument was no. Lenny actually opened up a duffel bag or a backpack and found the gun in there. That was their accusation. Lenny said, no, the bag was laying open and I saw the pistol in there in plain sight. So in that warrant situation, if that pistol was indeed in plain sight, then it was fair game. And it ended up having fingerprints on it. It was literally the smoking gun, you know. But that was thrown out because the defense argued that, hey, there's no way that bag was in complete sight. He had to have unzipped it to see the contents of it. And then they threw that evidence out and they had to go somewhere else. So my problem with this, or my concern or my question is, what gave them the right to open the safe up if they were there because of the 15 boxes? That's my question. Olivia Benson is her name. Thank you. Thank you, A.A. Ron.
I'm sure to come out. Something will.
Well, that's another problem. I keep saying that myself. I catch myself saying, well, I'm sure we'll find out. But, Glenn, I ain't sure we'll find out. I'm just not sure we'll find out.
That's why I said something will. I mean, they'll come up with something, you know, be it the truth or you know, or whatever. I mean, trust is not in my vocabulary as far as what we got going on in our government, and that goes to both sides.
Yeah, Marco writes. He says, "Wouldn't it be nice if you knew a lawyer?" Yeah, it really would.
Not calling any names, but the guy I'm talking about that commented on my Facebook post yesterday was a lawyer.
Yeah, well, he and again, I'm still fuzzy on. I'll have to go back and read. I don't understand that whole thing, because I think because I was trying to simultaneously read something while you were talking. So shame on me, but
multitasking.
I did. So that all went over my head. But I would like to. I'm gonna text him and let's just see if we can get him to call in. I don't know. Can you call in about warrants? I'm gonna just see if he'll call in, and I'll get him on phone. And if he says something stupid or wrong, I'll correct him.
I didn't say what he said was stupid or wrong. It was just
no. I said that.
It just okay.
I'm just telling you.
It tickled me because when I read his response yesterday, and then when I got up this morning and turned on the radio, the exact same thing he said was what was being said on the news feed. I'm like, wow, okay, that's pretty cool.
And tell me again what he said. I'm curious now. I was going to call you later, but shit, it's my show. Let's just relitigate it. Well, let's relitigate it. What was can I pull the post up? It was your post?
Sure. Yeah, my post. I made the post yesterday morning that we officially live in a banana republic. It should be somewhere around 5 a.m. on my page yesterday.
Okay, so guess what? I ain't there yet. So you're saying, since you said we officially live in a banana republic, his rebuttal is that he was sure that the process was followed correctly, blah blah blah.
Yeah, that was his rebuttal. I mean, they do this hundreds of times a day, and yada yada yada. I can't remember exactly what I'm saying, what he said. I don't want to.
No, I mean,
hit me with perjury. But,
yeah, again, I'm not reading it, but I mean, I don't think there's nothing inherently wrong with his statement if that's what he says. And I'm slowly,
no. I didn't say there's anything wrong with his statement. It's just whenever I turned the radio on this morning when I was getting dressed, it was almost verbatim what they were talking about. On the news back. That they do this hundreds of times a day, and yada yada yada.
He agreed. I'm reading it now. He agreed with you when you said it seems that our agencies are being used more often as political weapons, and he says I think they've been used for those types of things for as long as I've been a lawyer.
Right. I was talking about his initial response.
His initial response, wasn't there a search warrant? Is that what you're talking about? That was his initial response.
Yeah, that one.
Okay, so you wrote, we're no better than any banana republic after the actions of our FBI last night. He says, wasn't there a search warrant? Meaning that, if it was a true banana republic, there wouldn't be a search warrant, I guess is what he was saying. So anyway, maybe he'll call about the search warrant process. I don't know.
he went on. He said more than just wasn't there a search warrant. He did keep on going on that, unless it's been edited.
Well, no, Greg asked him, what other former presidents have been searched, and Greg Dennis says none that I know of, but there will always be a first for everything. I personally like that our politicians are not above the law. That's sort of an American thing. Of course, Greg comes back and says, "Sorry, my friend, I read wrong. I thought you said it was common for former presidents to be searched. If he done something wrong, I want it brought forth and dealt with, but I want the same for Hillary and that Biden boy." And that statement right there is where my problem lies. I agree with Greg. That's the problem right there. And then Sam agrees with him and says, "Me too." So I'm still trying to find where the conversation went. Well, there's only one more comment from Greg. Greg says, "I agree. I like the fact that politicians are above the law, but you have to admit that the timing is suspect." Okay. And then Sam says, "Most of them are escape artists, but the timing is always suspect." What?
His initial response is that all it's showing? Didn't they have a search warrant?
His initial response is, "Wasn't there a search warrant?"
That's it.
That's his initial response, and then you responded to him, and then he responded to you.
He went back and edited it then, because there was a whole paragraph there.
Man, I don't know. I can't talk about something that ain't there, so I'm out.
Yeah. There's that.
Okay.
There was a whole paragraph there.
I got you.
And that's what anyhow. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, maybe he'll call and talk about search warrants.
The evidence has been deleted, sir.
Yeah, if somebody has tampered with the evidence, I can't see something that ain't there.
That's right. All right, brother. Well, I done gone way long today. Me apologies.
Yeah, that's my fault.
Bow on out. Yeah, whatever. It's your show. You do what you want to do.
That's right. All right, man. I'm gonna go pee. I'm gonna go pee now. I'm free to pee, and I'm gonna go pee.
All right, my brother. We gone.
All right, see you, man. Bye. All right, y'all can try to call in after the break, but I have got to go to the bathroom right now. I will see you here in just a minute. We'll be right back.
Well, 1 hour is gone. If you made it this far, you are an official freedom fighter. Don't forget to visit freedomnetworks.com. Click on featured advertisers and support these businesses. They can advertise anywhere. They choose this show as a way to support the effort of preserving and defending freedom. Now, back to the show with Steve.
All right, back on Freedom with Steve Nichols. It was a terribly rainy afternoon yesterday. I don't know what the total rain count was, but somebody said in Hayhire it was over 4 inches, and it came down quickly and a lot. I don't think I've seen that much rain in that short a period of time in quite some time. So y'all let me know if y'all got a count. 229-469-1417. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. What's on your mind?
I'm no lawyer, but I'm calling to defend T-Rex. He did not lie.
Oh, he did.
There is, in fact, water flowing in the Arapahoe River.
So I get what you're saying, and I appreciate you getting on the witness stand in his defense. I know you, and I find you to be an incredibly credible witness, and I do not question your observation. But I will point out, as lead counsel in this case, that T-Rex did in fact lie when he said that he saw that the Alapaha had water in it, because he wasn't there. He guessed. He just guessed right. You follow what I'm saying?
The thing is, if you ride across that bridge and look down, you see sand, dry sand. The water is flowing underneath the ground.
Okay. I get
The
that.
only time you see water there is when the river is too full for all of it to flow underground.
That's not in dispute. Let the record reflect you're 100% right. But an eyewitness saw T-Rex dressed in purple at the gas pump trying to use his card, and T-Rex admitted himself live on there that he didn't see he wasn't at the river yet. So again, he guessed right. Now, I take the fact that he guessed right into consideration when I pass sentence. I take the fact that he admitted his error and that he was a lying scoundrel on air. I take that into account, and I'm quite sure. Matter of fact, I'm going to rule now. I'm just going to put him on probation, and we're going to watch him like a hawk from here on out. You think that's fair?
That sounds fair.
Also,
anybody that's in Hayhire trying to head south, they've had to get together there where they getting on the interstate southbound on top of the overpass. So I'm sure it's a mess.
Oh man, that is bad timing for people trying to get to school and that sort of thing. That's a terrible, terrible location. And I don't know about you, but that interchange right there next to 29, they could have done a better job with that. I'm just going to say it.
It's horrible.
It is
I
terrible.
try to avoid Hayhire this time of the morning at all costs.
Amen. This time of morning and at about between 3 and 4 in the afternoon too.
Yeah,
it's terrible. But appreciate the traffic report, my man.
All right. See you.
All right. See you later. 229-469-1417. Good morning, caller. You're on the Valdosta Transmission Hotline. What's on your mind today?
Good morning, sir.
What's up, Big B?
I've just been riding, watching the eastern sky turn from a cotton candy pink to a tangerine orange.
Cotton candy pink and a tangerine orange. I like it.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna break in on the water in the river situation.
All right.
Highway 135 bridge below Willacoochee. There's water in the Lappahaw.
Yeah, and Ron,
Ron,
Garrett. Garrett texted me and said in Stockton, Georgia, there's water under the bridge. Which I'll be honest with you. I mean, to the trial at hand that we did litigate here on air this morning, none of that really matters. Whether you see bridge at 135 with water. Whether my friend Garrett sees it in Stockton, whether the previous caller sees it, it all hinges on the testimony of T-Rex and the eyewitness account of Renee. You follow me?
I do, but Renee was not at the river. She was
neither were you. Neither were you. You were at the river at a different location.
That is correct. And later on today, I will be at the headwaters of the Lappahaw between Rochelle and Rebecca. It ain't much more than about a 20-foot bridge, but
which though interesting, Big B, again, irrelevant.
Man, you need muddied up my water.
Pissing in your cornflakes.
There you go. Well, let's talk about weather.
Right.
It was 68 degrees at one point between here and there.
68, man. It's been a while since we've seen 68. That's for sure.
Exactly. And I'm waiting for it to get back down to 60 every morning.
Me and you both. I like it when it's in. Every year, and we're way out from it, but every year there seems to be that day when you walk out, you either going to work or you getting up, at your house or whatever. There's that day when you get up early in the morning and you feel it. You just feel
That's
it.
Right.
You feel that change. There's
you
that
take,
one.
You take a deep breath and you go.
That's that one day.
Man, this is all right.
there's that one specific day. Yeah. I mean, it's just there. It just hits you and you say, well, here we are. We're about to change. That don't mean there won't be other hot days, but that one day signifies that it's coming. I mean, we're almost there, and we'll try to identify it. If it happens while we're on air, we'll try to talk about it if you help me remember, but that day will happen.
I will.
That day will happen.
I'll be glad to, because, us fat people, we don't sweat, we render.
Hey, Lord have mercy.
When that humidity gets up, I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
And I ain't saying just because I'm fat, but I mean, dang, we do live in South Georgia, but that humidity gets to cranking. Man, you can wring your socks out in the afternoon.
Oh man, I'm telling you, you can feel the sweat running down your ass crack. It's just terrible.
No doubt.
It's terrible.
No doubt. No, I wanted to pop in there. I come to T-Rex's defense best I can. Ain't Glenn, but there's water under the bridge, but I ain't saying it was flowing.
Yeah.
I can't swear to it.
No, I got you.
So
I got you.
But they still a little swimming beach down there, so that's where they all gonna hang out this weekend. So
yeah.
Well, let me jump in here and get this truck loaded up and hit my route today and get on back in.
All right, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. See you. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. 229-469-1417 if you've got anything on your mind. It is unclear whether Trump will answer questions or assert his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination during the behind the closed doors testimony today. That is going to be interesting to me. We'll see. And we'll know that today, probably when, we'll talk about it in the morning, but that's going to happen today. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. What's on your mind?
Hey, you got to throw a flag on your field.
Uh-oh, what happened?
Did T-Rex guess, or did he reason it? Did T-Rex have enough information known to him that logic would dictate that what he said was going on under that bridge actually was going on under that bridge? Because you say, though he guessed right.
Mm-hmm. Well,
there may be more to the story.
Well, he didn't present that as evidence. He simply fell on the sword, admitted he lied. So I've got to take him at his word that he's a bald-faced liar. That's all I know to do, Jimmy. Yeah, that's all I know to do. Sounds like he should have hired you as counselor.
So what is that issue here? The fact that he lied?
Yeah. He admittedly lied.
Well, he admitted to it. Why are we having a trial?
He filed a false report. And he did he filed a false report, and he did not admit it until he got to trial.
So the
now, I don't think
under litigation is not that there was water under the bridge, but that he said he was there and physically saw it when he wasn't.
That is correct. He filed a false report.
And he admitted to it.
Yeah. Now, in his defense, he never knew he'd end up in the courtroom this morning live on air. You know what I mean? He didn't know that. So maybe he's got grounds for an appeal. I don't know. Anyway, so.
All right. Well, I just wanted to point out the flaw in that logic.
Tenfold makes sense, but
not necessarily a guess. You gotta look at the information that he processed mentally to arrive at that conclusion.
Yeah. Again, I convicted him based on his own testimony and his own admission that he lied, and I convicted him, but because of some of the elements of what you bring forth and other listeners have brought forth, I went lenient on him, and I sentenced him to time served, and he's going to serve a very short probation. Probably be over about 9 a.m.
On the subject of the Banana Republic.
Yeah.
The standard of a Banana Republic is not the lack of process. The standard of a Banana Republic is that process is arbitrary according to the person who has the seat of authority at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll apply to some while not applying to others, and it will contradict itself.
That's right.
Yes, we are a Banana Republic.
Yeah, and to Sam's response to Glenn's claim that we are a Banana Republic, which I tend to agree with, it sounds like Sam agrees with that too, to a point, because he said this type of thing has been going on for quite some time.
The little bit I know about Sam, I think that Sam should agree. I think he
does. I think he does. I believe it's been escalated. Is where my position. I think you and Glenn would agree with it. I think since the serving of the warrant on a former president at his home, I believe it has been escalated. You know what I mean?
Oh, the stakes have been raised
right.
substantially.
That's right.
Let me give you something else to think about. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
They're doing this. They're going after their political enemies. Now you think about this: 87,000. That is 1,087 times. Many football stadiums will not hold that amount of people.
Mhm.
Does that number ring a bell?
87,000.
87,000.
Does that number ring a bell?
Does that number ring a bell right now? Wouldn't you love to have $87,000 right now?
Yeah. I
Because
do.
that's how many new IRS agents you're about.
Oh yeah, 87,000. And the report came out yesterday that most of the people that's going to be audited, it broke the numbers down. There was only, I remember the low number of 20,000 20,000 additional audits to billionaires, but 80 it was a god awful number of amount of new audits for people making less than $75,000 a year. So it's going to
87,000 new agents. That's
Mhm.
for a reason, brother.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
add to that the fact that the IRS and the EPA and many other of those alphabet agencies are buying up billions of rounds of ammunition.
Mhm.
Somebody getting ready to do something,
Sounds like it.
and it ain't good. Well, glad I could bring the sunshine out on your day. I'm going to leave it with that and go back to catching these fish.
Well, thank you. I hope you get your lure snagged on the stump and lose it.
Yep. Well, hey, now, when you do the math, do the whole equation. People
Well,
tend to focus
yeah.
on one little number. Look at the broad spectrum of what's going on over our heads right now.
Yeah, where's the report coming that they're buying up a bunch of ammunition? I've seen that was texted to me and emailed to me and all kind of, but I haven't seen the source. Where's that come? Do you know where it's coming from? Because I want to look
That's
into it.
been being circulated around for quite some time,
Mhm.
and the math adds up with the fact that we can't find ammunition in the stores anymore.
Yeah.
Not to mention the price of it. So, yeah, if I've got bad information there, you correct me if I'm wrong, because I can't.
Yeah, I've seen
it numerous
accurate
places,
yeah.
and I can't quote you off the top of my head a specific source.
Well, what we know
So
is
if I'm wrong, you correct it. But the math adds up. I believe that.
what we know from specific statements from people in the know, like Hornady, my friend Jason at Hornady, he told me that the reason they are short of ammo is because of demand. So we know somebody's buying up the bullets as fast as they hit the market. The question is who, is it, now locally, I can tell you this, and I don't know if it's still going on, but Brian Vincent can attest to this. The ammo at Academy Sports was limited to 2 boxes per person in the 223, 5.56 categories, which fit the AR-15 platform rifle. So the people were getting they were getting shipments like on a Monday morning or Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. or whatever, and there'd be a line of people there hoping to be able to get in line to get their 2 boxes. So at the store level, at that, it's easy to say who were buying up the ammo in that scenario. My question is, who's buying it before Academy has the chance to buy it? And that's where the possibility that the government is scarfing it up. But you would think that the bullet companies like Hornady would divulge that information. I don't know, man. I'd like to do more investigation on that.
Well, you investigate it and let me know what you find out, and I know you will.
I will. I'll make
Joe
a phone
may know
call.
a little more on it than I too.
But that's
the information that I have.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if we can find out.
All right, brother.
All right, go catch a big one.
I'm trying. The bite has been off for a week now. I've only had 1 strike so far, and it was a small one. I'm fishing for big fish, so
10-4. Go get them.
Hopefully, I'll get off of this.
Maybe so. All right, we'll see you, buddy.
All
right, bye-bye.
Take care.
All right, you too. On the ammo thing, I know Joe's posting some links there. I can't click on them while I'm live on the air, so I don't know what they say. My problem is, my question is, or my pondering is, my wonder is if It's all ammunition, or it was at one time. I'll just call out a few calibers that I was looking for information or looking for ammo for at one point, probably a year and a half, 2 years ago, maybe right before deer season 2 years ago or 2 seasons ago. I needed 6.5 Creedmoor, 30-06, 7mm 08, and 243. Those were the 4 guns I was seeking ammunition for and could not find it. As a matter of fact, Brian can remember this if he's listening. He called me from somewhere. I don't know where he was at. I think it was maybe Bass Pro Shops, because I had been looking. I put the word out. I had gotten down to 2 bullets for my 30-06, and that's my preferred gun in the woods. It's a sentimental thing. I don't want to get in the gun caliber argument. There's many guns out there stomp a deer in his tracks. Okay, I just like the 30-06. I grew up with it. That was the first quote unquote real rifle my dad bought me at Sentimental, so I used 30-06, and I was looking for some 30-06 bullets. 150 grain, 165 grain. I wouldn't choose it. I didn't really want 180, but I couldn't find it nowhere. And the local stores, T3, ADL Outfitters, the pawn shops, nobody had it, couldn't get it. So who was buying up the 30-06 bullets? The military wasn't. Or were they? Who was buying the 7mm 08, the 6.5? Who was it? A component problem? John Schaffer could help in this conversation. Was it a gunpowder issue, a primer issue, a lead issue, a casing issue? What was the problem here? I mean, it was across the board. It seemed like all the way down to the 22 bullet. The government doesn't use 22 bullets. Correct me if I'm wrong, military guys. I don't think they use anything with a 22 unless it's target practice or training, maybe. I don't know. But you couldn't find 22 bullets. You just couldn't find anything. Brian says 30-06 is scarce again this year. Haven't been out there, so I don't know. So it's easy to understand why 223 and 556 was missing. I mean, the AR-15, for those of you who don't know, it'll you can shoot either. It's the same thing virtually, but the rush with AR-15, the rise in popularity, it was really easy to comprehend the shortage in that bullet category. But I often wondered what was going on, what was suppressing the supply of all the other calibers of bullets. You couldn't find anything. You just couldn't. Larry Mitchell said between March 1 and June is purchased 700,000 in ammo. I don't know who he's talking about there. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, that's kind of sidetracked there, but let's get the phone line. Good morning, caller. On the Valdosta Transmission Hotline. What's on your mind?
Good morning. How y'all doing?
What's up, man?
Ammunition. Remember I've been over recent weeks harping on that book Nudge by Cass Sunstein.
Yep.
If you'll go back and do some research, because they memory hold this stuff real fast and they count on you not remembering it, not going to look.
Mm-hmm.
They've been attacking ammunition as a way of getting rid of weapons.
Right.
Since they can't get the Second Amendment outlawed via decree by the courts, and they won't try to amend it because they change the Constitution by amendment because they know that won't pass. They've been going after ammunition and manufacturers.
Yeah, since 1994, when the assault weapons ban passed, there was, a lot of efforts in a lot of liberal states to tax ammunition, to ban ammunition, to things like that.
Yep.
So they've been after ammo a long, long time. I just wonder, and I know you posted a couple of links maybe concerning the subject, but I still wonder. And John Schaffer, I don't know if he's listening. I wish he'd call because he would be the go-to local resident guru on the components and things like that. I wonder that there's got to be a common denominator, because at one time, and again, I don't know, I'm good on ammo. I'm just going to leave it at that. But at one time, you couldn't find anything. I'm talking about 410 gauge shotgun shells. There was no ammunition. So either somebody was buying up all the ammo, or it was some component issue. Maybe they bought a bunch of gunpowder or a bunch of primers, or something's missing in this equation because I mean, my friend Jason is he's way up the ladder at Hornady, and they have not sold any ammunition in any great amount or any inordinate amount other than what they've always sold over the past 10 years. So I'm trying to figure out what the problem is, or what am I missing? You follow what I'm saying?
This is what Nudge is all about. It's a death by 1,000 cuts. I know that at one point that the local gun dealers here in Bay County were saying they couldn't get powder for the guys who were reloading. So that might have been happening at the manufacturing plant too. I know that banks were no longer giving loans or helping ammunition companies fund themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They were being told that the government was going to start allowing ammunition companies to be sued because of gun shootings, just like they're going to allow gun manufacturers to be sued because, of gun shooting. Well, why aren't we allowing, Chevy to be sued because a drunk driver hit somebody with their car? This is what's going on. Plus, you do have the IRS. I don't remember the story right off, and I didn't look that one up, but the IRS had bought something like 9 million rounds of 9mm ammunition, but I think that was back a while. I think that was under Obama. But I do know that there's over 70 federal agencies that are armed, and they're armed heavily. And the only ones that the Constitution authorizes to be armed is the military. So I don't know why the federal government feels like it needs to be arming itself unless it knows it is the government that the Second Amendment was intended for. The real reason for the Second Amendment is because of the government we have right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bunch of things, and it's not just the fact that the demand is up. They're doing everything they can to throttle the supply at the same time. I mean, look, UPS is quote unquote losing 2/3 of its weapon shipment, its ammunition shipments right now. Mm-hmm. How does that happen? Unless it's intentional.
Oh, it was very intentional. Yeah, it was very intentional.
Huh?
It was very intentional.
Yes, it's intentional.
It's intentional.
And it's being coordinated.
Yeah.
I know people don't like this, but you actually have to stop and start looking at how this is working. It's being coordinated at the corporate level. Well, these corporations always seem to coordinate their actions in line with the agenda the government is pushing.
Mm-hmm.
There's a word for that when the corporations do what the government wants them to do. It's called fascism. And Bongino said we live under a tyranny. We're calling it a banana republic. In a way, yeah, but actually what we are now, and we have been for decades, we're a fascist nation. And just the truth. It doesn't matter which party's in control. Mm-hmm. Nominally, I still argue it's one party pretending to be two, but we're a fascist nation. Mm-hmm. And Bush W. and Obama both proved it. Bush proved it with the financial markets. He came in and just told them what they have to do, and they did it. And then Obama came in and literally stole large parts of the auto industry away from the stockholders and handed it to the unions. So I don't want to hear the left or anybody else telling me that, corporations are running the government. They're partnered with the government, yes. But when a push comes to shove, the government's the one telling the corporations what to do. So,
Jason from Hornady texted me back. He said that government sales only comprise currently about 2.4% of their total sales, which is down slightly over last year. He said that the bulk of our business is to retailers and wholesalers such as Midway. That's his text response. And that's just one person or one thing. I think it's like you said earlier, death by 1,000 cuts. I think they put their tentacles and touch different segments, and it upsets the apple cart, so to speak. So, it's restrictions and shipping, although their sales are, bullet sales are up hundreds of percentage points. You know what I mean? They are selling them as fast as he just said. We could put in 3 more lines and couldn't keep up with the demand right now. You know what I mean? It is, the country is starving for ammunition right now, and has been for a couple of years. So I don't know.
Forgive the cynicism, Steve, but it could also just be that the ammo industry decided to tell everybody there's a shortage to scare us, to get us to buy more ammo.
No, let me tell you, I don't doubt the effects of corporate personhood at all. At all.
I mean, we live
boy. They want to make it
in that world now.
That's right. I get it, and I don't have a problem with it necessarily. If I could figure out a way to increase mine and your listenership by a couple of million viewers in one day overnight by simply slipping out some sort of press release. Trust me, Joe, I would do it.
Yeah, release would already be in the mail.
That's right. All right. Everything on track for Monday? You think you feeling pretty good?
We're going to be doing a lot. Well, it won't be live that anybody can see it, but we're going to be doing a test today. He's going to show me how to get everything started, and we're going to sit down and play with it for a while. And hopefully we'll have it so the phones can be picked up, done, have all that connected by tomorrow. We're still on track as far as I know. The big thing now is just going to be whether or not I can take callers the first day. We're pushing for it.
10-4.
I forgot I got busy yesterday getting the backdrop for the studio done and everything, and I forgot to send Larry the logo for the show. So I'll get that done today if he's listening.
10-4, man. I'm looking forward to it.
So we're working on it, brother. We're pushing for it. I mean, we'll bumble and rumble and stumble our way through the first week, but we'll get there.
10-4. Have a good day. We're looking forward to it, brother.
Bye.
All right. See you later. All right. Y'all keep the line clear. I heard from Sam. He texted me back and he's going to, I sent him the number and he's going to try to call. So let's try to keep the line clear and get him on. Well, I'll accept this call since that probably didn't get out in time. Good morning, caller. You're on the Valdosta Transmission Hotline. What's on your mind?
Okay, this is going to be real quick, Steve.
All right, go ahead. I knew it was you.
On the availability of ammunition.
Mm-hmm.
In the year 2020, there were 7 million first-time gun owners in this country.
Wow, 7 million. Well, that they needed bullets.
Well, figure if the 7 million new gun owners only bought 2 boxes of ammunition, that puts a staggering demand on the manufacturers. Because they were already 24/7 making this stuff because the demand was so high, prior to 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And the U.S. government has done absolutely nothing to settle the fears of Americans. So there's no telling in the year 2022, since 2020, how many more new first-time gun owners are in the market.
Man, that's good information right there. That seems to back up what Jason indicates. He actually just texted me and asked if you needed a job. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to go to work for Hornet.
I guarantee you. I'll tell him. He may be just kidding. I don't know why he don't want to hire me.
Georgia, man, I'll be first in line.
That's right. I'm jealous he didn't ask me for it if I wanted a job. I guess he likes you better than me. All right, brother. Appreciate it, John. Thanks for the info.
Okay, man. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. We're going to get see if we can get Sam called. So if y'all try to call, I'm going to ignore your call. See if we can get him in here. Call now. I just texted him. So maybe he'll call in and we'll shed some light on the warrant process. And always a fun conversation with old Sam. So maybe he'll call in. I don't know. Maybe he's still got the time. I know he's trying to get his children to school. Their first day of school, I think, was Monday. He's like me. He's got kids going all over the place. All right. While we're waiting on him, let me look over here at some of the comments. Aaron says it's time for a secession of states. Many believe that. I'm not so sure. That ain't a bad idea myself. But Matt Sermon says, personally, I like the 30-30. Not so good on downrange, but packs a punch. That's right. There was a time, and I don't know if the statistics would bear me out now, but there was a time when I would say that the 30-30 rifle has killed more deer than any other caliber. I would have said that back in the 80s. Now, I don't know that that's the case now because Well, John just indicated that there's way more gun owners out there. There's probably more hunters, though. Arguably that number has ebbed and flowed. It's been up, it's been down. Maybe it hadn't changed a lot, but their habits or their gun due to marketing and the internet and people talking about different calibers. There's probably not a lot of people rushing out to buy a 30-30. I know that Glenn last season he shot. I'm pretty sure he shot a deer with his trusty old 30-30 that he's had forever. So the 30-30 is inside 100 yards. That joker's killed a lot of deer. The 30-06 was a popular caliber for a long time. Then the 270. Now, one of the rages over the last couple of years was a 6.5 Creedmoor. You got the 243, the 270, 7mm 08, the 308, 300 Winchester Magnum, 7mm Magnum. There's just all kind of calibers out there that that'll kill a deer. That's for sure. Wade says he'll take a job if it's shooting Hornady ammo. Richard Tyson says, Steve, how did it go dropping the kiddos off? It went really good. Thanks for asking, Richard. That was something that I did last Friday. I've never missed a day. Now, it's funny that you say that, Charlie, he's entering the 10th grade. He's a lot like his daddy. He doesn't he doesn't really care for school a whole lot. He's more interested in shooting things and fishing and messing around the yard, riding, SUVs or whatever the case may be. He's like his daddy, okay? Emmy loves school. She's a little social butterfly. She loves getting in school and loves talking to her friends. And of course, she's in the 7th grade. So, man, I'll tell you what, there's these challenges of these kids these days. It's different. It's just different. But back to the point, Richard, we'd walk in holding hands and hugging, love you, see you later, bye. No, that ain't the case no more. It's more like, hey, Dad, do you have to pull up right up to the front door? Can you drop me out here in the parking lot where nobody sees us? And can you just say bye and not really touch me and just let me go? I mean, that's kind of where we're at now. Very depressing, very heartbreaking. That's where Charlie's at. Emmy, not quite there, but yeah, it's not all touchy-feely like it used to be. So it's depressing to get old. It's depressing to watch your kids grow up and distance themselves from you. It's tough. Getting old sucks. So anyway, I'm glad you asked, Richard. But I had a great time, and I really appreciate you asking that. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. What's on your mind? Hello. Well, I don't know if that was Sam or not. I've got him on speed dial, so I don't know. Let me look and see if that was his number. Let's try it again. See if we can get that was him. Good morning, Sam. Is this you?
Man, I call in, I mentioned fishing, and you hang up on me.
I didn't hear a word you said, but if I'd have heard the word fishing, I surely wouldn't have hung up with you, except the fact that you and I were.
Good morning, caller. What's on your mind? I said, man, I ain't got nothing but fishing on my mind.
Well, that didn't come out on this end. I apologize. So when you say you got fishing on your mind, are you now? Be careful how you answer this, because you know the history here. Are you on the way fishing, or you just got fishing on your mind?
No, I just got fishing on my mind.
Okay, that's good. That's a good answer. Whether or not it's allowed, I'll have to find out later. But anyway, I thought.
Ain't no lie. Come on, man. I'm just dropped off David at the high school.
Okay, good. Okay.
Which, by the way, is a real bittersweet thing. This
week.
It started this week, and I just, man, I can't take it.
Ninth grade. Lord have mercy, dude. We getting old, Sam.
You might be getting old. I ain't getting old, son.
No, you ain't quite as old as I am by a couple of months, but you old too. I hate to say that. All right, let's get to the punch. We were talking about warrants, details on the process and that sort of thing. So one of my listeners said, too bad you don't know an attorney. And he was saying that sarcastically. I said, well, let me give him a call, Anyway, we
It's a shame you don't know a good lawyer. That's
another conversation for another day. All right. So the warrant process, let's start at the beginning and we'll fill in the blanks as we go. Somebody sees a need.
I presume you're talking about search warrants.
Search warrants. That's right. Search warrants. So we got to search your house specifically. So they approach a judge.
By the way, I have a doormat at the front door that says "Come back with a warrant."
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, in this day and time, they probably will.
Well, therein lies the problem. I mean,
that's right.
For years, we've talked about how they sign warrants like they're chiclets. But go ahead.
That's right. Okay, so what's the process? They've got to have a compelling argument to the judge.
Nah, the word compelling is really overstating it.
Okay. Okay.
So the way I define it and have for my career, and I think it's correct, is that you have to have a reasonable belief that a crime has been committed and a reasonable belief that the evidence of that crime is where you think it is and where you are requesting to search, permission to search.
Gotcha.
So if you think if I think, John Doe stole a car and I think he's got it in his backyard, then I have to tailor the warrant. I go to the court and I say to the judge, I want a search warrant. The judge says, okay, what for? I want to search John Doe's backyard. Why? I think he's got a stolen car there. What makes you think that? Well, and that's when he's got to get the officer or the law enforcement person has to give some sort of evidence, testimony.
Sure.
Like maybe, hey, we had an eyewitness say that the car matching this description, went in there and he pulled it in there and put a tarp over it. That's probably enough.
Okay, gotcha.
Do you know the eyewitness? Yeah. Have you used him before? Or has he testified for you? Yeah, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably enough. I mean, it doesn't take beyond a reasonable doubt. It really just takes what we call by preponderance of evidence.
Right.
Really the standard. I mean, most judges are a little stricter than that, but that's generally what it is.
All right, so I'm gonna go through. Well, go ahead. I'm gonna let you wrap it up, and then I'm gonna go through a scenario.
Well, no, so like then if they give a search warrant, then of course they have an affidavit that says this is what I think the evidence is of the crime, and that affidavit is filed with the court. And then there's something called a return, and the return is what they gathered or seized when they went there and searched. And the search warrant itself will be left at the premises, according to law. So, frankly, under the circumstances, I know obviously we're talking about the search warrant, I presume, that was executed against our former president. And, he should have somebody at Mar-a-Lago should have a copy of the search warrant.
Right.
And I'd love to look at it, but I don't guess they've released it yet.
Yeah. All right. So let's go through that scenario. I'm assuming that, I'm not assuming. Well, I'm going to go by the reports in the media that seem to be consistent. There seems to be the notion that there were 15 boxes of documents, if you will, that during a visit back in February, someone noticed in a storage closet. So because they noticed that, they go to a judge and they ask for approval of a search warrant. And in that search warrant, I'm assuming it has to say, well, they're going in there looking for those boxes, kind of like the search warrant in the stolen car case was somehow referenced. They're going in there to look for the stolen car. So
that's exactly right.
Yeah. Okay. So far, so good. They go there and they find the boxes in the closet. Everything sounds to me so far that it's within the scope of the warrant, based on what I think I know. But my question, Sam, is how do you make the stretch? And I know we don't see the warrant, and you're probably going to tell me why do I have to look at the warrant? And that's fair enough. But I'm wondering what gave them the right to open the safe based on that warrant for the 15 boxes.
You're talking about two different things, and I really want the listeners to key in on what I'm about to say. There's the law of search, and then there's the law of seizure.
Okay.
So search and seizure, those are two different things. So if you're going into say the car, let's just say that example. I say we think it's in the backyard, but Judge, I'd like to be able to go in the garage too. Now I'm confident they don't have it in the living room. That seems stupid, right? So a judge should limit the search for that car and not let them go in the house. But a judge would likely let them go in a garage or a workshop if there's wherever a car could be, right? So to search, the question is, do they have the right to search where the car would be? Generally speaking, the answer is yes. So they're looking for a car, and it could be in a garage, so they can go in there and look for it, unless it's limited some other way.
Mm-hmm.
I think what's happening at Mar-a-Lago is that they're looking for documents.
Right.
Well, I mean, honestly, documents can be anywhere.
Right.
So the search arguably could lead them to safes, to file cabinets, to closets, to under the bed, between the mattresses.
Logical. That's right.
Cushions of the couch, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
Then the question is, if they find something, can they seize it? Now, if it's documents that are described in the warrant, that's an easy thing. So presidentially protected, or whatever the word is, that the record keeping law about presidential records. If there are records there and they find them, even if it's a record that ends up not being relevant or not being a quote presidential, whatever the exact record is that they were looking for, they may still end up seizing it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that may be under review at a pre-trial or pre-trial type motion hearing where his defense lawyers might say, Judge, they shouldn't have seized this television set, right? That has nothing to do with it. And a judge might agree and order him to return it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, the funnier thing, not the funnier, but the more problematic thing is if law enforcement discovers something of another kind of crime other than the
documents,
secreting of records, right? So assuming for the argument for the moment that is a crime, and I haven't read that statute, so I don't really know, but but assuming that's a crime to steal records out of the White House or wherever they were that are supposed to be preserved, and let's say they're there and they find, I'm just making this up, let's just assume they find cocaine in a ashtray or something. The question, then the question becomes, were they legally in the place that they were in when they observed the other evidence of this unrelated crime?
Mm-hmm.
And if they were, because they were there by virtue of a legal search warrant, then finding evidence, even though they weren't necessarily looking for it, finding evidence of other crimes may in fact be okay. And they may be able to, well, not may, in that example I just gave you, they would be able to seize that and then potentially charge whoever they think owned the cocaine with the possession of it or whatever crime they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, and I know you didn't really ask this, so stop me if you want me to hush, but the idea for me is that I find this search warrant to be I don't know what the right word, it's huge to me.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason it's huge is not so much that I think that there's evidence of a crime. I have no idea, obviously, and I don't think anybody really, most of us really know.
No.
But what I know is that they had to have evidence when they got the warrant, because a judge,
they did,
especially in a case like this. I mean, when they know it's going to be every comma and every period and everything is going to be, examined by a microscope.
That's right.
And you've got someone as wildly popular that that is sort of the target of this search warrant. That's why I'm dying to see the warrant and find out what the evidence is, because it ain't gonna just be a routine application for a warrant. In my opinion, it's gonna be significant.
Well, this is just my opinion, and again, I'm basing this off the reporting that's out there, which is all I have to go by.
Me too. Yeah.
And I'm not, obviously I'm not a lawyer, obviously, and we defer to your expertise on that. But I mean, you're a criminal defense lawyer, and I want to get to that in a minute. But I look at the reason that is out there for the warrant, and that reason seems to be totally above board. I mean, all the news agencies are reporting, the BBC, Al Jazeera, all of them are saying the same thing. Nobody from the Trump camp's refuting it. As a matter of fact, he basically said, hey, if they wanted the boxes, they should have just asked me and I turned it over. So somebody in February saw 15 boxes there in a closet. They asked about it. They were told what they were. They saw that it was, some of them were labeled and this, that, and the other. So they were there. So as far as what the search warrant asked for, I'm assuming, and I'm like you, I want to see it, but I'm assuming it just simply says something to that effect. Hey, we were in there in February. We saw these 15 boxes. It's pretty obvious to us that they belong to the White House. They need to be archived. So we want a search warrant so we can go retrieve that property. Seems to me it's pretty clear cut. Now, I don't know what else they may have found. My guess is they didn't find a whole lot. That's just my observation.
I don't know. I don't know what we don't know till we get what's called the return, which will list everything on the return that they cataloged and will therefore need to, maintain a chain of custody and all that.
Yeah.
And, I just don't know if there were boxes. Would I anticipate, the reading between the lines or trying to listen between the lines, which I say sometimes. I think the thing that's going to be interesting is if all they wanted were those 15 boxes, like that seems like you could go in there, grab them, and come on out. But when you have, I want you to listen to what I've just said. So when you've got a search warrant, for instance, that says you're looking for an ounce of marijuana. All right, let's pretend that. In this case, let's say the search warrant says you're looking for records, and I bet you it says kept in any form. So it could be digital records, it could be recorded records, it could be on a memory drive, it could be in boxes, it could be printed, it could be handwritten, typed, copied, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that gives you pretty much permission to go into every nook and cranny, right?
Yeah.
So it may be that this was a clear, easy search warrant to get because the evidence is so good that he took these records, which is presumably a crime.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the crime, and there's they're able to go into every nook and cranny, just knowing law enforcement the way I do, I mean, they might be there looking, quote, for presidential archivable records, but they're not going to turn their head when they find an appraisal that inflates
right.
property value or a tax return.
That's right, and that's where I want.
He's read.
That's right. That's where I want to go.
Handwriting has red line, and you know what I mean, and the crossing out numbers, or who knows, right? I don't know.
So that's you're going where I wanted to go to next, and as you are a criminal defense attorney, throughout your career, you have been tasked with defending a client who had a search warrant served on their property or their person for a myriad of things, from drugs to bloody knives to any documents, anything. So as the defense attorney, your job, I'm assuming, is to try to absolutely shred that search warrant. You look at that thing and you try to pick it apart and say, look, y'all were in my client's backyard looking for a car, and because y'all found some cocaine in his kitchen, you went beyond the scope of the warrant. I'm making a ridiculous layman's example.
Well, no,
there.
but that's a great example. That's right.
Yeah. So as a criminal defense attorney, are you looking at this case from that? And when you see, if you were to defend Donald Trump as a lawyer and against unreasonable search and seizures and the Fourth Amendment and all that stuff, are you going to look at that thing and say, well, they followed this, or try to pick it apart and say, well, they followed it to a T. And if I was his defense lawyer, I'd have a hard time getting around that. Or are you possibly going to find something that say, well, I think they stretched it a little bit there? Or I guess what I'm saying is, in your career in other cases, have you seen a search warrant that you knew beyond any doubt in your mind as an attorney that it was a fishing expedition?
Oh God, yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
So it could be that.
Yes.
It could be that.
Oh, I mean, I would be shocked if this is not a fishing expedition.
I got you.
In part, I anticipate that they've got a valid reason. Remember now, think of a search warrant like a key. So if I've got the ability to get in your house and look for that stolen whatever, okay, let's say it's a stolen wrench, and I'm going in there, we have reason to believe it's in his house, and we got somebody that's going to testify I was in there and I saw it, whatever. Okay, so at that point, judge says, okay, here's your warrant, and we think they're going to throw the evidence away or destroy it or whatever, so we got to have a no-knock warrant. You've seen those.
Oh, yeah.
Well, or you've heard about them.
Yeah.
Then if that's true, it's a key to everything that's private and everything that's personal about that person and about that residence or that location. Could be a business or whatever. And in that moment, Steve, I mean, I can't unsee the cocaine, right? I can't unsee the bad tax return. I can't unsee whatever the evidence of the crime is that ultimately shows up. So the search warrant can be, and oftentimes is, a key into that person's residence or car, sometimes into their body to get blood or DNA.
I got you.
And so, yes. So is it a fishing expedition? That's a little bit broad, but do they get the warrant on one ground, but in the back of their minds are like, I bet we find other stuff?
That's right.
Yes, that happens on the daily, man.
Yeah.
And will there be defects in the warrant or in the process of getting it? I can almost assure you there will be. There will be mistakes and there will be defects, but it will likely be what they call harmless error. It probably won't make a difference. Well, in general cases, it probably wouldn't make a difference.
Yeah.
And to that, we get back to the point that you and I have discussed a million times, and that is, that's why you don't want Federalist judges on the bench, because the Supreme Court is going to say, maybe not this one on this case, but if it was not a presidential case, the Supreme Court is likely to just say, look, this is harmless error. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I got you.
Because it's all in the pursuit of catching criminals, right?
That's right. Well, I think we can all agree.
Which I disagree with, by the way. I love catching criminals. And I love the idea of criminals being off the street, but I like my rights more than anything.
Yeah.
And I want it to be very difficult for the government to be able to come into my house or into my yard or on my property or whatever. Everybody knows that. I
know that. And I think
so even though, I think it ought to be very strictly reviewed and carefully analyzed, and this case probably will. But the garden variety search in every court going on today, man, they don't outlaw these warrants almost ever.
That's right. Well, I think the main thing that we need to take from this conversation is that if you steal a man's wrench, you absolutely suck and you deserve to be locked up.
Great.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
I mean, a wrench, that's how he makes his living. For God's sake, kick him in the nuts. Why don't you,
Can I tell you something funny? A guy broke into my dad's shop years ago, and I mean, it's been a million years ago, and I got appointed to represent this person on something else a year or two later, and we were looking at the prior record. And my paralegal, who you know, who's just fantastic, she says, take a look at this. And so I'm looking at it. I know there's a burglary charge here or whatever. And she's like, no, look at it. I'm like, I know, I get it. She's like, look at it. And I looked at it very closely, and I realized that the victim of that burglary charge was my daddy. And I remembered the case, obviously,
Right.
from when his shop got broken into. And I remember telling our DA, I said, listen, I can't do this. He said, come on, man, we're about to finish this case. And I said, man, my attitude has changed 100%.
That's right. Understandably so.
He didn't even break in while your dad was there. And it wasn't even your dad's house. And I said, buddy, you two things you don't do. You don't break into my shop. You don't touch my truck.
That's right. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Shifting back to this.
So to your point, I know you're being funny, but
that's
that is
right.
absolutely true.
That's right. That's right. This is a politically charged case by nature. It is the president, a former sitting president of the United States. And in our system, you either fall on the right or the left. So depending on what side of the coin that person is, in this case, the right, it's in the spotlight. You got half the country rooting for him to go to prison. You got half the country saying it's a witch hunt. The political ramifications of this, the worry, the question I think that we as citizens have on our mind. I don't care take yourself out of the politics. We heard that the Republican representative yesterday, I read the article earlier, and I don't know if you're aware of it, that 3 FBI agents come up to him on the street and said, we have a warrant to seize your cell phone. He had no idea about it. Of course, he's mad about it. You got that on the heels of a search warrant being executed on Mar-a-Lago for a Republican. I think the natural political argument is that, and I believe it would be, I saw it with the Hillary Clinton Benghazi stuff and her BlackBerry, her hammering and all that. No matter what side you're on, the other side screaming, depending on the environment, is that it's a witch hunt. The FBI is being weaponized. The DOJ is being weaponized. It seems to be escalating and getting worse. I'm asking you, as a citizen, as a man, as a voter, as an American, as someone who loves their country, as a lawyer, as a father, Sam, how do we get back to having faith and having confidence in how we live in this country? We're lost.
God, I don't know how you get back. I have some ideas. I would tell you that witch hunts, this may well be a witch hunt. I've said for years, just because it's a witch hunt doesn't mean she ain't a witch. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's true.
So, so I think what we have to do is really analyze the evidence. But there's obviously no doubt that this is a politically charged case, but that doesn't mean that he didn't break a law and commit a crime. He may have.
That's right.
And if he did, he needs to be prosecuted for it. And I'd say the same thing about Hillary or Joe or fill in the blank. I don't care. If you are supposed to be leading my country or my state or my county or my municipality, and for whatever reason you break a law, you ought to be subject to the laws just like you and I are. So I got no problem with that, regardless of who it is. And you hear the phrase witch hunt across the board. Everybody that's interested in politics says that if it's their favorite politician getting gored or getting hunted, right?
Yeah.
How do we get back to having faith in our system is one that I think you and I could spend hours talking about. But for me, it's pretty simple. And I know you know where I'm going to go, but all of us are plugged into some form of programming.
Mm-hmm.
All of us are. I don't care who you are, you're plugged in. So we're plugged into some form of information consumerism.
Mm-hmm.
So we consume information daily from somebody that's selling it to us, period. There's no way around that argument. That's the truth. That unless you are literally following the president around every day and taking your own notes. You have to depend on somebody to sell you the information that's interesting to you.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
And so that's what happens. Now, we have really weaponized our free press. It's no longer free to you and me. It is only free to those who own it. And they have a vested interest in selling you a narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Case in point, look at Alex Jones and that lawsuit that just happened.
That's right. Yep.
You know, to me, there's no doubt that guy is a liar. And I may offend people by saying that.
I don't think
But
so.
he
He's a
doesn't
liar.
care.
He's definitely a liar. He is a bold-faced liar that made millions of
But he doesn't-
dollars
but
off of
let-
those lies.
But let me tell you, he's the ultimate winner in this case. And let me tell you how I know that. He's only been ordered to pay around $50 million, right?
And he made
everybody says,
150.
well, see, good, justice was served.
He made 150.
No, I mean the testament. He was worth 270
That's
something
right.
according to the testimony.
Yeah, he filed bankruptcy, and turns out he didn't even need to.
No, that's right. He was trying to get the lawsuit
Mm-hmm.
to stop. I do think he had some bad lawyering, and that's another question for another day. But the point I'm making is that guy won the game of the current game of capitalism in this country, and he did it by creating tremendous damage, not only to the victims of Sandy Hook, but to us as a people. He damaged our country, and as a result, he's $220 million richer.
Mm-hmm.
He's the winner.
Yeah.
If you look at it correctly, he's the winner, not the poor people that got a verdict,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And so, I mean, that's how I see it. And the problem with that is it's the same way with Fox or CNN or MSN, whatever, fill in the blank. It's the exact same way because what they're doing, what everybody's doing is selling you a narrative. So today, when you look at whatever programming you consume, someone's going to tell you what you want to hear. And that is that, you know, that Trump has been victimized and the FBI has been weaponized, or, hey, they finally got him and he's coming to justice, or whatever they're going to say, right?
That's right.
And all of that is designed to hold your attention so they can sell you crap in between segments.
That's right.
That's all it is. And so once you realize that, then back up, take a 30,000-foot view of it and go, okay, look, this is just a search warrant. There's evidence. Apparently, there's evidence of a crime. Well, but we need to test that. Luckily, we live in the United States of America. And there's a system in place to test the veracity of that warrant, the legality of it, and any evidence that they may have gathered from it. And that's the process. And that's the best process that any country in this world has. And we just need to have faith in that process and have faith that it'll come out. Now, it doesn't work perfectly. There are innocent people in jail. We know that. I've been part of those cases where we've gotten people out of jail because the system failed them.
Mm-hmm.
The system fails sometimes. Still the best thing in the world.
It is. It is.
So
I think
so at the end of the day, but we need, I think that the skepticism about this warrant, I think the skepticism about the politicization, I'm saying that word wrong.
That's a tough one there. I'm not going to
talk. I can't say it.
Yeah.
I can't say, if it's got more than two syllables, I can't say it.
Amen.
So I'm just like, I think that's healthy, man. And as you know me, I'm no real big fan of Trump,
Mm-hmm.
but the fact that there's people that really are like up in arms and skeptical about this search warrant in the FBI,
Mm-hmm.
sign me up. I think that's healthy for this country. I think it's very healthy.
I
So
think
I applaud those people. I applaud all those people that are skeptical. I would ask politely that you apply that same skepticism to the poor fellow down there, you know.
Well, we can't do that.
Dirt that they
that's
bust
right.
into and arrest in the middle
We
of the night.
we can't do that because the media, the CNNs, the Foxes, they're not reporting on that. So that don't sell. To your point, I think what needs to happen, Sam, and I don't want anybody convicted that's not deserving of a conviction, but it just seems to be that nobody of any great consequence ever gets nailed to the wall. So what I mean by that, if the Hillary Clinton email, I mean, her breaking her BlackBerry and James Comey saying, hey, she shouldn't have done this, but no law was broke. She got off the hook. Trump, I don't think there's going to be any kind of conviction to come out of this. I just don't. You see Paul Pelosi. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that Paul Pelosi lives with Nancy Pelosi. She's the third highest ranking member of our government. She's got legislation going through her chamber concerning chip legislation and whether or not it's going to pass. And Paul, her husband, owns $1 million worth of stock, and he just mysteriously up and makes the move of the century right before it that goes through. It's obvious that we're on the take, but no high level official ever gets sent up the river for it. And I believe if we, somebody, Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, George Bush, Bill Clinton, Obama, whoever, I think one day, if there's clear-cut evidence that they did this and they got to go to jail, the Epstein trial, I don't care what it is. I'd just like to see somebody get roasted. If they did something wrong, I'd like to see them get nailed to the wall and it be a no-brainer to the American people.
I'd like to just see what the evidence was in the Epstein trial.
You can't even see it. That's a good point. It's sealed. It's sealed. Yeah, we know everything about Johnny Depp, but we don't know shit about Jeffrey Epstein because it's sealed.
Is it? I mean, doesn't that just blow your mind? I mean,
yeah,
for me,
it pisses me off.
Frustrates me, obviously.
Yeah. Anyway, it's
but you're right. I mean, what your point is 100% correct, and the sad truth about our system, which is again, I should say, is the most perfectly designed system in the world. It is, however, run, in my opinion, contrary at times to the ideals that are enshrined in the design.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what does that mean? It means that we screw it up. It means that if you've got plenty of money and you can hire good lawyers that aren't overworked, that can focus on your case, the chances are you're going to get a better representation.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the thing that I've said this before. I'm like, you got the Second Amendment, y'all being, people out there in the public love the Second Amendment, as do I. And you want it to be strong, as do I. Well, how about the Sixth Amendment, man? It's just as important,
mm-hmm.
And I mean, to me, it's the nonviolent sort of right to bear arms. In other words, I got my lawyer, man.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be represented. I'm going to have somebody stand in my shoes that knows these laws just as well as you do. And he's going to be able to help me, or she's going to be able to help me, protect me from this wayward government. Well, the sad truth is you look at most public defenders' offices, and they're the best lawyers in the country, in my opinion, bar none. I mean, as a group, they're the best ones.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody thinks that because, frankly, when you got 500 case files and you got about 30 seconds to decide whether you're going to plead to murder or plead to voluntary manslaughter and get 10 years instead of going to trial and getting life without parole, I mean, that ain't a choice. But that's what these poor lawyers are stuck trying to figure out literally within a few minutes,
Mm-hmm.
And that's not real meaningful representation. And that ought to, that's like saying you can have bullets, but you can't have gunpowder and lead in the same place. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah. I want to.
They've gutted the right. I mean, you've got the right, but really only if you can afford it.
I got to get.
I want to get cheap. I
want to get back to the.
I mean, they're expensive.
I want to get back to the warrant because I had written this down to ask you then, and I turned the page, and thank God, Jimmy just texted me to ask to remind me to ask you this. If I read the report correctly or read the news report correctly, the lawyers for Trump were not allowed to be present during the execution of the search warrant. If, and I stress the word if, that is accurate and if that is correct, do you have a problem as a criminal defense lawyer with the lawyers not being allowed to be present during the search?
Well, I have a problem as a Sixth Amendment lawyer not being allowed to be present for anything.
Okay.
I mean, I personally, the grand jury, is a big secret event, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the grand jury is, for instance, when you get indicted, it's in secret. And so prosecutors, wave it around the courtroom like a grand jury of Lowndes County indicted Mr. Smith for XYZ. And I always have to stand up and go, well, that's funny because they didn't invite me to it. They didn't tell me when it
Right.
was. They didn't let me in the door. It was behind lock and key. It was totally in secret. And that usually surprises juries. When you say that, it usually you can see it on their face like, what? You weren't allowed to be there?
Yeah.
And that's, to me, that's part of what's shocking to most people is that they don't fully appreciate or understand what's happening day to day that is, in my humble opinion, either in violation of or very close to in violation of constitutional rights. And it weakens all of our rights, right? So the fact that you couldn't be that a lawyer or representative couldn't be there while a search was going on is, that's unheard of. That never happens, right? And that there's no right to the criminal defendant or to a citizen to have that there. In fact, it sounds like they timed this search warrant, if I'm correct, when he and most of his folks weren't there. Now, I don't. There's
that's true. Yeah.
Drama about did they do it that way to give him a tip so that he wouldn't be there? Did they do it that way so Secret Service wouldn't stop him or what? Who knows?
Yeah.
But the point is he's not there, and so what ends up happening, unfortunately, is that they go in there and basically get to do whatever they want to do. So like if you say to a police officer, this is why you should never consent to a search. If you're on the road and you get stopped for speeding or something, they say, hey, while you're here, do you mind if we search your car? And you think, well, I don't have anything to hide. Go ahead. And then they're like, every client I know is like, we never thought that they were going to rip our seats out and take the screwdriver and take the door panels off my car and all that.
Yeah.
And so, but they do, right? And so that's why it seems it's kind of counterintuitive, but you have to be sort of steadfast in the exercise of your constitutional rights. Polite, but steadfast. In answer directly to your question, do I think that's wrong that no one's there? Absolutely.
Yeah. Apparently,
I absolutely think that's wrong.
Well,
Because
apparently,
then all you're done when you're cross-examining these law enforcement who were there and say they found this. Now, sometimes they have video or whatever, and that's helpful, but you don't have your own investigator or your own lawyer standing there to say, well, that's not how that happened, right? Or that's not what I saw you do. Well, now we have no way of testing other than just pure cross-examination, which is fine, and I love cross-examination, but I'd sure like to also have my own witness when I can,
That's right. Apparently, Christina Bobb, Trump's attorney, was indeed present during the search, according to a Politico article. So, hopefully, the
problem with that is, let me tell you the problem with that. If she's there, if she's his lawyer, she now may become a witness in the case, which is ethically not allowed. So it's not the lawyer it's nice if the lawyer's there. But really what you want is what we call a prover. You want somebody like an investigator there that can actually sort of be an eyewitness, right?
Right, gotcha.
And then that witness can testify about what you think, the contradictions in the evidence may be.
I gotcha.
But if she was there, that makes me think that it may have been coordinated, right?
Yeah. Maybe so. I don't know, but that's one article there. And of course, all we've got to go on is the reporting. That's a CNN article that I pulled up saying that she was there. So we don't know, but I hope that we have the transparency moving forward. I hope that there's no sealed documents or that we're not allowed to, to scrutinize the search warrant. I hope we can. And I guess we will be able to, but hell, I don't know anymore. I just don't know.
Well, we should be able. It'll all be public record at some point. The question is, I know I've heard that Trump's fussing about getting searched or whatever. I'm not moved by any of that personally because I'm like, I got clients that say the same. I got plenty of clients that get searched and are flabbergasted. And I'm like, well, back to my point. You keep appointing these quote federalist judges, that's what you get. I mean, that's what we've been getting for 40 years, and I've been trying to scream about it for my entire career, but again, nobody really thinks about it till now. It's in their face, right? Which is good. I'm actually glad these conversations are happening, but I'm not surprised at what's giving rise to them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we all know. I think most of us know we have protections against illegal search and seizures. It's just like we don't know what an illegal search is, and we have to rely on someone like you as a lawyer to interpret.
I'm gonna push back a little bit, Steve. You're supposed to have protections against illegal search and seizure.
Yeah,
I don't know that you really do anymore.
Yeah, that's right. Fair enough.
I feel confident that that the Fourth, the Fifth, and the Sixth Amendments have, generally speaking, been eroded to the point of historical reference. I mean, they really don't. I mean, we still litigate those issues, but to virtually no success. I mean,
I was about to ask you that. How successful have you ever been, or what's the percentage of times you've been successful in getting evidence thrown out or a case dismissed based on solely the illegality or wrongness or whatever you want to say of the search warrant itself? Does that happen very often at all in your line of work or in your practice?
It happens, and we do. I'll plug myself and my team for a second. We are very diligent and careful when it comes to those issues, and we dig into the weeds and we get real serious about litigating those issues. And we have had some real success in that area. The problem is, you ask percentages. I'm just going to mention that these are my estimates, but in the 70s, I would say 60s and 70s, you would probably see 25 to 30% of the motions were getting granted because there were, the amendments had teeth in them, and police routinely were overstepping their boundaries, so to speak, and infringing on constitutional rights. And we believed back then more in defending our rights, even if it meant somebody got away with a crime. Now, fast forward again, you can see it as clear as a bell when Reagan takes office and the judges he starts appointing, which are now considered liberal, by modern standards. And so you can see the pendulum from a judicial standpoint has shifted so far. I say to the right. You could say, depending on your definition of right and left, all I can tell you is it has gotten so far askew of protecting constitutional rights of individuals that they're non-existent. So the percentage from the 70s is 25 to 30%. Now 2%, 2.5%, maybe.
Yeah, big difference.
I mean, it's just bad. And then if you literally are able to do the historical analysis, I'll tell you who's got strong Fourth Amendment rights and Fifth and Sixth Amendment rights are corporations. Now they've got the rights that we should have. I mean, all you got to do is remember that, like, Apple was basically told with a search. Think about this for a minute. A search warrant was given to the FBI several years ago, and it was allowed. They were allowed to go to Apple so they could discover or look for evidence of ways they could unlock an Apple phone. I don't know if you remember this.
I remember
and
that.
Apple got their lawyers, and they went and had an emergency hearing, and they stopped them. And that never happened, right?
Right.
And and I don't know if they had a good reason or not, but that ought to, as a citizen, as an individual, that ought to inflame you. You ought to be on fire, mad about that somebody, a corporation, can absolutely exercise constitutional rights. And then you take an individual like Donald Trump, and he had no choice. He was out of town. They just came rolling into his place,
Were you pro Patriot Act or anti Patriot Act?
I am 100% against it.
Yeah.
Ask me why.
Why?
Not a dadgum single one of your representatives or senators or president at the time read the damn thing. Not a darn one of them.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, it eroded our individual constitutional rights. And, we've always had people like intelligence communities, for instance, they know who the terrorists are.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They know who the cells are. They know where they are and what they're doing and what they're talking about. And good for them. I mean, we need that kind of intelligence in our country to help protect our country. But not against Sam and Steve. Hell, we ain't doing nothing.
No, that's right. Yeah.
Except maybe flying to Vegas for the weekend or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, why we got to do that? Why we got to go through all that? And now we got this whole nother niche industry and pre-check. I mean, it's nuts. And to me, it's all born out of this recoil. And anytime you see legislation that has the word patriot or freedom,
it's probably anti-patriot and anti-freedom.
It probably is. That's right. That's a sad truth, but it probably is.
Sort of like the Inflation Reduction Act. That's not, according to the CBO, is not going to have anything to do with the inflation.
You and I are fixed to pay a lot more in taxes.
Absolutely.
I ain't read the act, but I guarantee that's going to be the result.
That's right. We agree on that. Sam, I appreciate you calling in this morning, man.
Oh, dude, I love it. I appreciate you. Call me when you're done with the show. I got to talk to you about tomorrow.
Oh, I will. Okay, 10-4.
All right, bye.
All right, see you, bye. All right, Sam Dennis. If y'all need a lawyer, he is a good one to call. Y'all give him a holler. If you need his number, look it up, Sam D. Dennis Law, or just send me a message. I'll get it to you. Appreciate his input. I was wrong on the fact that according to what I read now, it does seem like he did have a lawyer present, so that clears that up a little bit. I'll be interested in seeing the warrant, talking to Sam, see if there's any, he'll be in a criminal defense attorney. I'm interested to see how he would defend anything in that document if he was representing Trump. So 229-469-1417. If you want to call, we're getting down to the nitty gritty, down to the end. I have not done the weather report. I will do so now. So you guys will know what's going on. Partly cloudy with afternoon showers or thunderstorms. Highs around 90 degrees. The winds are out to south-southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. The chance range 40%. Mostly cloudy tonight. A stray shower or thunderstorm is possible. Low of 71 degrees. Winds light and variable. Much of the same for the next couple of days, but the chance of afternoon thunder showers is increasing tomorrow to 63%, Friday 58%. So put that in there. Good news is the high temperatures over the next 10, 12 days are mainly in the upper 80s. There's a couple of 3 or 4 days, 5 days maybe, that hits 90, 91, 92. But it seems to be a little cooler as we move forward. Good morning, caller. You're on the Valdosta Transmission Hotline. What's on your mind?
Good morning, good sir. How you?
I'm doing good, brother.
Me too. That's something that I've been thinking about more and more with all this stuff that's been going on, which against Trump for all this time. I don't really want him to run again, but he's gonna. But I think they just keep doing all this, chipping away at him, and whether it's legitimate or not for any of all this stuff, I almost think they kind of want him to run, but I think they've got so much out there in the media with the negativity that they feel confident that there will be enough quote unquote Trumpers jump off the train and not vote for him or not go vote or to vote for somebody else, so that they just keep all this negativity out there. And even if he does run, they feel like they've got it wrapped up.
No, I think you're right in a lot of your analysis there. I think to me there's no doubt. If I'm a Democrat and I'm looking across the aisle at who would I want to run against, it'd be Donald Trump. That's an easy assessment because he is so polarizing that he will do two things. And to what amount on the first one, I don't know, but he'll make a certain amount of people who would generally vote Republican stay home. And at the same time, he will solidify the Democrats to the point it's going to make people go vote that wouldn't necessarily normally even go vote. They don't care, but they hate Donald Trump so much. So the easy estimation for me, I agree with you. I think they want Donald Trump to run. Now, on the flip side of that, Donald Trump running, this stuff like this happening to him down here with this search, that's going to solidify his base, and they're going to go vote. The question is what is the fallout on the right going to be, and how many Democrats are going to show up to vote because it's Donald Trump? That's the analysis. I think if you don't want the Democrats to win, I think you've got to hope Trump don't run, because I believe if they put virtually any R up, if the economy, now I'm hedging this whole thing on the economy, if inflation keeps climbing, if gas goes back up as it's predicted, I think any Republican is going to win over any Democrat. The only thing that can muddy that is if Trump runs, and I do believe he's going to run.
Yeah, I'm almost sure. There was some ad I heard on some either radio or podcast or something late yesterday that he ran kind of immediately after the raid, and it basically talks about, you know, it more or less just indicates that he's running, which we've heard that anyway from different sources occasionally. You know, so I think he's going to run, and personally, I'd rather DeSantis run and him bow out, but that's not probably going to happen whatsoever. And I do think they're just going to use all this ads against him, and even the stuff in the past that was proven not true, they'll throw that right back out there, and people will believe it, and they'll totally just vote against him because they hate him, and like you said, all the other combination of things between both sides will end up being a mess.
We shall see what happens. We're about right around 90 days to the midterm, and I think he'll probably announce. I think he'll wait and announce after. He might announce before, but my gut says after. And but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think he was kind of holding out to wait, but I think with all this, it may come soon. It just depends on how some of this shakes out. Like you said, he has that issue in New York today, along with this. I don't know. Just depends on how some of it plays out. He may come out sooner, but
that's right. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that play. Fundraising rules, the tax case he's being deposed today. I'm interested to hear I'm interested to see whether or not he's going to testify. Is he going to take the fifth? That's a good poll question. Is he testifying or is he taking the fifth? What say you?
Yep. I guess if it's today, I guess we'll find out.
I think he takes the fifth.
Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes his ego might talk him into doing it, but I don't know. His attorney may tell him otherwise.
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess we'll see. I'm afraid it's a cluster, and it has been, and it's only going to get worse. It's all about divide.
Oh yeah.
They're just trying to figure a way for their side to win. So,
no doubt. Well, both sides are doing that. So.
Yeah, both sides. Oh yeah. Both sides.
All right, my brother. We'll see you later. All right.
Everybody have a good day.
You too. 229-469-1417. Renee says, I'm not sure. Trump likes to talk. That's a good point. I mean, he's never shied away. Honestly, he hasn't. So his personality is, I mean, look at his press conferences. I mean, he don't look at notes. He answers off the cuff. He's very confident. He ain't worried about saying nothing wrong. So Renee, you may be right. It kind of makes me take back a little bit about my prediction he takes the fifth. I think it's a toss-up now that I think about it. I think I don't know. He may talk. You may be right. Renee, I would not have bet against it. Good morning, caller. You're on the Valdosta Transmission Hotline. What's up?
Hey, good morning, Steve.
T-Rex.
One more time.
Yeah, man.
Just wanted to remind you after that little kangaroo court hearing I heard this morning that I self-incriminated, and none of the Freedom think tank actually snagged me on that little indiscretion that I committed.
That's true. You did, and that's why I gave you probation. Because you self-reported.
Probation accepted, sir.
Yeah, and your
Tomorrow,
probation.
The Alapaha River report will be live.
Yeah, and I mean, your probation is over at 6 a.m. in the morning. So you can just speak freely after that. Yeah.
Have a good day.
You too, buddy. Thank you. Renee says, no way I couldn't be right. Yeah, you could. You certainly could. 229-469-1417. Got about 7 minutes. AOC's constituents react after the Dems dropped the tax hike to pass climate initiatives. That's the think Cinema, the portion of it, Cinema got thrown out of there. So, I mean, this bill is like Sam says, they're raising our taxes. They're going after us. They're going to raise our taxes. And if that's not enough, they're going to add insult to injury by auditing us at a higher rate. GOP rep shares details of meeting with Trump. I read that earlier. I did get finished with the weather report. That was brought to you by Plantation Creek Real Estate. My buddy Reed Hall, man, he's on a roll. He's listing properties. If you're looking for, he's listing one in Crisp County, I think it was 171 acres or whatever. Go to check out Plantation Creek Real Estate. Reed Hall. I think I shared it on my personal page. If you're looking for a recreational track or trying to sell one, he's the man to call. He's an expert in that field. He can help you with any real estate need. And also plantation59.com. Y'all check that out. I'm serious. That's all I'm going to say. Please, plantation59.com. Tell me what you think. Fish and game forecast. Jimmy's out there fishing right now. Says the bite's been off. Not too good. He's been fishing primarily in the morning, I think. He may have been fishing some in the evening, but right now the evening is time to go. 7:40 p.m. It is in the excellent range. It don't get no better than that. Out there right now, it's in the low side of the good range. It is 8:55 a.m. and it is bottomed out right now as we speak. So it's Jimmy, if you're out there, you probably ain't getting anything if the graph is right. So from about 7:30 to 9, it has just dropped down to just nothing. However, it starts rising again at 9, and by 11, it's back up into good range. And midday, high noon, it's bumping up towards the excellent range. But 7:40 p.m. this evening is the time to go. Now, you might be fishing in the rain and severe lightning, like what's happening yesterday. It was horrible outside, but that is your Fish and Game report, brought to you by Recycle Center of Quitman. I reversed them today. I realize that. 900 Boundary Street in Quitman. They open at 9 a.m. You can call them at 229-563-5300 for all of your recycling needs. They'll give you a good price for your scrap metal, and there's good reviews on Google. They rank a 4.7 out of 5, which is great. Great customer service. Friday at 1 p.m. I arrived to see this place is closed. That's a negative one. I don't know if they close early on Fridays, but most of the reviews are real good. And I know Zach, they do a great job there. So 229-469-1417. War must end with liberation of Crimea, says Zelensky. Ukraine's president devotes nightly address to Crimea after explosions rock a Russian airbase there. We're trying to find out what happened, but there was a big explosion at the Russian airbase. When I said she saw a rocket launch from her condo last night, it was awesome. I'd love to see one. I'd love to see that. Maybe one day. Republican uproar over FBI search of Trump's home. Mike Pence is among those demanding an explanation. Will an FBI raid supercharge Trump? It's going to motivate a lot of people. Whether or not it'll make any real cataclysmic shift to make people that you were on the fence vote for him, it might. We'll just have to wait and see. Why people in China stopped paying their mortgages. Construction stops, mortgage stops, deliver homes and get repaid. That was one of the chants disgruntled apartment buyers in China used at a protest in June, but their ire over unfinished homes didn't stop at signs and chants. Hundreds of them stopped paying their mortgage, a radical step for China where dissent is not tolerated. A young couple who moved to Zhengzhou in central China told the BBC that after receiving the down payment last year, the developer withdrew from the project and construction stalled. I have imagined, countless times the joy of living in a new home, but now it all feels ridiculous. A woman who did not wish to be named said. Now, she don't want to be named because she don't get killed or locked up or go missing. A woman in her late 20s who also bought a home in Zhengzhou told the BBC that she too is ready to stop paying her mortgage. After the project is fully resumed, I'll continue paying. Many of them can pay, but are choosing not to, unlike the U.S. subprime mortgage crisis in 2007 when money was lent to high-risk borrowers who defaulted. They have purchased homes in roughly 320 projects around the country, according to a crowdsourced estimate at GitHub, where homeowners have been posting about their decisions. The boycotted loans could total 145 BN. I don't know what that means. Sounds like a lot. I don't know. The revolt has rattled authorities, focusing attention on a market already under pressure. So China's economy is on the ropes. It ain't looking good. MSNBC reporting on the president, and they're commenting about why he won't be barred from office even if he gets indicted. Now, I'll say this. I don't know what their reasoning is, but we are innocent in this country until we're proven guilty. So even though he's under indictment doesn't mean he's guilty, and he should be able to run. So I don't know what their reasoning is, but that's pretty much it for me. A law blocking the perpetrators of certain crimes from federal office may be in conflict with the Constitution. Former President Donald Trump should never be president again, this according to Jessica Levinson's opinion. Frankly, he should never hold any office of public trust again, in her opinion. He attempted a self-coup. He lied over and over again, blah, 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 blah. At the very least, based on search that the FBI conducted money, that appears to be evidence of a federal crime related to someone's unauthorized taking of classified documents that are at Mar-a-Lago. I'm trying to get to the reason. The FBI search, blah, 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 blah. I don't even want to read that. Y'all can read it. It's on MSNBC if you want to. It's 9:00. That's the reason I was speed reading and mumbling. I call it speed reading. Speed reading. Y'all might have called it speed mumbling. But at any rate, I'm out of here. I appreciate you guys tuning in today. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. right here on Freedom with Steve Nichols. Y'all have a great day.
We at Freedom with Steve Nichols want to thank each and every one of you for listening. Together, we will protect, defend, and promote the freedom as our founding fathers envisioned. We believe in the spirit of the Declaration of Independence and strive to protect that spirit daily. Please thank and utilize the goods and services of our sponsors and advertisers every chance you get. For now, we bid you farewell. Have a great day.